Hello and welcome to the Shea Hates Everything Podcast, where two brothers argue about video games and other shit that matters. My name is Shea, and today I hate corporate vernacular.
And my name is Kyle, and today I hate Funko Pops.
Did we talk about the Funko Pops last podcast?
Yes, so we did.
Is there late breaking news on the Funko Pops that I'm not aware of?
I've told you about this, but the listeners
just that you
don't
sold
know.
them all, right?
Yes. So
yeah.
Since the last podcast, I have sold all of my Funko Pops. Basically, all right, here's what happened. So on the last podcast, I talked about how I hate looking at them. And like, I hate the fact that they are in my house and in my life, and I feel ashamed every time I turn my head to the left and see stacks of them on a shelf. When I go and visit my partner in their office, there are stacks of them on top of a bookshelf in their office, and it's just they had to go, man. They were like taken over. It was awful. So a friend came into town. Yes, because like once you have them, people start giving them to you as gifts, and so you just continue to accumulate like these boxes of shame. And so my buddy came into town, and I was talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I was listening to your podcast on the drive down, and you talked about how much you hate Funko Pops. Why don't you just sell them? I bet you could like get a couple $100 for them." Because you have so many. And like I have some rare ones from when I worked at GameStop, and my partner got like a lot of the rare limited run Harry Potter ones and like convention exclusives and stuff like that. So I took them into our local comic shop, Mavericks, and sold all of my Funko Pops for $680 in store credit.
Not bad.
That's pretty good. Now, if you're asking Kyle, how do you spend $680 in a comic book shop? I don't know, but I do know how to spend $500 in a comic shop in one go. And I got a bunch of Lorcana cards for my partner. I got like a booster box and a bunch of decks that they hadn't bought yet and some card sleeves and stuff for them. I got myself, they had the entire run in like volume collections of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics, including like hardcover versions of The Last Ronin and like some additional Last Ronin stuff that takes place afterwards. So I got the entire run of TMNT comics. I got like some trades of Descender that I hadn't had, and Ascender that I didn't have, Paper Girls trade that I wasn't caught up on, and some additional like single issue stuff, and I still have like $160 in store credit there. It's like,
yeah, like does the store credit expire?
No,
is there a reason why you needed to use most of it the same day?
Well,
like,
no, I just like I was looking at what they had, and I was like, shit, they have all of the TMNT
stuff that
comics
you actually wanted.
Yeah, for sure. So I got all that stuff. My to read pile, all right, this is insane behavior. So we were running out of board game space in our dining room, and so we did some shuffling around, got rid of some stuff we didn't want anymore, had a little bit of space, but I was like, it'd be nice to have more space.
And you got rid of the kitchen.
Yeah, so I could
get rid of
all
stuff you don't
games.
need.
Yeah. And I found this new piece of like furniture that can go under the little Hobbit breakfast thing that your wife Kelly made Kara and I for our I think it was a wedding gift or an anniversary gift. So underneath that, we now have like a storage thing, like a cool table thing with like a cupboard, etc., and some shelves and all that. And the intent was, we'll fill this with new board games as we get them. Now it's just full of comics that I need to read and other books that I have bought that I need to read. It's like 3 shelves of this. I mean, they're small, but like 3 shelves worth of stuff that I need to read now, which is exciting. It's thrilling. I'm very excited to get back into reading. I read an entire, let's see, how long is this? Like a 500-page book in a day and a half. That was a good day, man. Those are my favorite days in my life.
The child-free life.
Yes, incredible. But all, empty in other ways, I'm sure. So I hear. But yeah, dude, it's like all of this came about because of Funko Pops. It brought me their absence brought me great joy.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, you got rid of a bunch of garbage, literal garbage, and then just like filled it with like books and stuff, which
learning.
It's I am not trying to say that the comics don't have more value than the Funko Pops. They absolutely do, but it is the difference between like getting that money in cash, where you could like, that's your mortgage for the month, or portion of your mortgage for instead you just have to buy more crap.
Yeah, it would have been like 500 something in cash, and I thought about it, and I was like, I don't want to miss out on that 130,
if you're gonna buy that stuff
bucks.
Anyway.
Yeah, like fine. Over time, and now I just get to like do it all at once, which is cool. Mm-hmm. That was very gratifying. So that was that was a fantastic time. We were pulling stuff out of boxes to use the boxes to cart all of the Funko Pops. Like all of our laundry baskets were full of Funko Pops.
How many Funko Pops was it?
It was over 70.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's also like, I mean, that's close to $10 a pop.
Literal
pun
pop.
Intended.
Yeah. Which, like I feel like, because we did we accumulated some of them as gifts. We bought a lot of them, but accumulated some as gifts and stuff. And I feel like we at least came close to breaking even. Like we didn't depreciate much.
That's surprising
from what we got.
Just because you had plenty of the rare ones, I guess. That are worth way
so
more.
we had the Cuphead ones, like the limited edition Cuphead one. Like the Cuphead ones are rare and valuable on their own. We had like the limited edition ones with the nice yellow boxes and etc. And like I think those were really worth a lot. And then we had a ton of Harry Potter ones, and I know those sell like crazy. So I bet those were all pretty worthwhile selling.
I owned one Funko Pop. It was a Jon Snow Funko Pop that Mom gifted me at some point. And when I was actually working in an office, it lived at my office. Because I don't even like Jon Snow that much on that show, but I do love that show, and it was a gift from Mom. So it was nice to have it there because it was just like, it made me think about Mom. And so then I brought it home once we went fully remote during COVID. And then when we moved to our house a year and a half ago, the head fell off. So I now own 0 Funko Pops, unfortunately.
That's the correct number to own.
Yeah, I agree. I did get joy out of the one Funko Pop I owned. And ironically, I would totally buy like 3 Funko Pops. Like, just to buy, like, I would buy like a Big Daddy or like.
So I had the Big Daddy really and the Songbird. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I would like my office to reflect a little bit more of my nerddom than it does. That's actually a lie. Historically, my office has not reflected my nerddom. But for Christmas, I actually got a vintage-looking PlayStation icon light that has the XO square triangle.
Yep.
And it has like different light features. It's actually kind of a piece of junk. It's very finicky. And it's like an official PlayStation product, which is super annoying. Oh. But I do like that. And then I've got I have the symbol clock that you bought me for Christmas or birthday years ago that has not worked in like 4 years, but I have it in my room because I like looking at it.
Yeah. And then I have a Nuka-Cola cap, bottle cap clock from Fallout.
I remember that one.
Yep. I mean, it would work if I put batteries in it, but I don't give a shit.
One of the
decoration.
One of the hands, the clock hands fell off, so I'd have to actually buy a replacement or something.
Right.
But historically that was kind of it. But once I went down this path of I'm going to reread all these Star Wars books, I needed a place to put them because they were living in a tub in the garage. So I cleared out my built-in bookcase behind me in my office, and now the entire bookcase is stacks of old Star Wars books. And it actually looks really cool because all of the bindings, they're all different colors, and it just kind of creates a cool look actually. So yeah, I think actually my office is plenty. When I'm on a Zoom, my office is plenty nerdy now because I have 80 Star Wars books behind me.
One for every Funko Pop I sold.
There you go. I don't think I would get $600 and some for those books because they're all secondhand. Many of them don't have covers because I took them from my bookstore job rather than throwing them away.
Right.
So they literally, it's illegal for me to resell those. That's the whole point of ripping the cover off. All right.
What about your corporate vernacular? Tell me about your synergies.
Yeah, dude. So, longtime listeners may remember last summer I got laid off from my job, and it was like a super fun summer, and I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
I have big news for everyone. I got laid off again a couple weeks ago.
Insane.
So yeah, it's great. I'm having a great time. No, it's not even a blessing in disguise. Look, it's not ideal. I would rather be looking for a job when I had a job, but I'm very confident that my next step is going to be good. And I'll leave that part of it at that.
Okay.
But I'm also so last summer we had bought a house 6 months ago and had spent months and literally tens of thousands of dollars completely redoing our plumbing, which included tearing down the entire ceiling on the first floor. Our house was a mess and it was extremely expensive. And then I got laid off right after that. So that was not super ideal. And it was a little bit panicky because we didn't have any money anymore. Thankfully, we have money now because we haven't had any super stupid, like out of nowhere, ridiculous expenses. So I have a lot more of a runway to take my time in my job search. And I intend, it sucks, right? Like we wanted to buy a minivan. We were actually like weeks away from buying a new car.
You were about to buy a minivan?
Oh yeah.
Dad
we're
Shea is
full on.
in,
Yes.
baby.
We're full on. I'm psyched to get this minivan.
So excited about this minivan.
Yeah, man. I don't like driving. Every time we rent a car, like when we go visit mom and dad and you, etc., we always rent a minivan. It's so convenient. I don't like driving it because it's bulky, but you do feel very safe in a minivan.
Sure.
And it's like the convenience, like it's amazing. And also it's a ton of extra space for Kelly for her like woodworking projects and things that she does around the house.
Sure.
So all of that would be fantastic. But we were actually I was literally doing research on what van we wanted to buy, and then I got laid off. So now we're not going to buy a minivan. So that part of it sucks because we will be burning through our savings. But at the end of the day, I'm very confident it's going to be a good situation. Leading to my Today I Hate is just because like I'm back in the interview game, right? And so I'm meeting new people that use the same language as I do in a corporate environment, as my coworkers did in a corporate environment. But because it's like a new person, it just makes me more sensitive to just like how, I'm using the word we. I'm not blaming anybody that talks like that in a business context because I also do it. It's just like Kelly she'll come need to tell me something when I'm in the office in a meeting. And so she'll like listen in the door to see if I'm in a meeting or not. And she's like, I hear you on calls. And I'm like, you sound like a completely different person.
Kara says the exact same thing.
Completely different words.
Yeah,
so
I like a different tone of voice and like,
Yes. I hate all of that. It's so annoying. I'm very much always me when I'm at work. Like I'm not a different person, but the words that you use are just different because you're using your vernacular, your like local language, talking about go to market goal setting and like OKRs and like metrics meeting, like just like terms that are dumb that have no place in casual society, which is where I like to live. So I just hate it. I hate the corporate stuff.
Yeah. I have the exact same experience. Like I'm not a different person, but I am much more choosy about the words that I use. I don't use like or say stuff. You know, I'm very careful about the words that I choose. And I'm also employing a lot of the skills and the skills that I learned when I was working with special ed students on like tone of voice and like timbre and like how you're speaking and how you're putting together your sentences and stuff. So I'm employing like all of those strategies too, just to make sure everyone feels comfortable and doesn't feel attacked and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so it's just like, it's nice to close the laptop at the end of the day and stop being work Kyle and just be Kyle.
It is weird because I have fully transitioned to using my Mac laptop and like super nice monitor, which was from work, but is now my personal stuff.
Yeah.
Because historically, like I've always used my PC desktop, which is like 15 years old. It runs like crap, etc. But all my Mac stuff is like top of the line MacBook crap, and it's amazing. So I've transitioned to just using that full time. So I'll like watch YouTube videos and stuff on my what used to be work equipment, and that still feels very weird to do.
Oh yeah, that's true. That would feel strange for a bit. Yeah.
But I'll get used to it. And hopefully a new job, I'll get another new computer, and then I'll I can get like my mega setup with like 8 different monitors from my personal stuff and my work stuff.
Yeah. Turn one of them vertical just to be like one of those guys.
Ew. Ugh. No, thank you.
I've thought about doing a vertical monitor because I do a lot of document editing, and it would be really nice to be able to like be zoomed in and see a whole page.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
Because like I have our Google Doc on my big monitor, and it's just like all wasted space because it's all vertical and not width. So that makes sense. Why that would be beneficial. Let's talk about some stuff.
Oh, sure.
We came into this like, super tight episode. We got some stuff to catch up on. We're bringing back, we'd probably hate that game, which I'm very excited about, but we wanted to trim down on time. And now we're 16 minutes in and we haven't
can still do it.
Talking about
we can still do it. We got this.
So here's a rundown of the agenda. We do have a lot of games to talk about because we skipped some stuff last month with all of the Summer Game Fest reactions, etc. So we're going to start off with our July Game Club game, which is the first Descendant. We've got a bunch of other games. I played the beta of Concord. Yikes. Kyle's been playing some Fallout London, which is very exciting. Some old games, some new games, plenty of things to chat about. We are going to talk a little bit about Star Wars The Acolyte for anyone that watched that. We have opinions. We've got some news. Not a lot. Very short news block.
Yep.
Because we just... all the stuff that we were going to cover last month, once it came to this month, we were kind of like, this is old.
Yeah, it doesn't feel pertinent.
Just like the Phil Spencer interview from like a month and a half ago. Like, no one cares about that. The Xbox, the Game Pass price hike, like, look, that sucks, but you know about this already.
Right.
And then, like as I mentioned, we're going to play some We'd Probably Hate That Game, which for those that have not listened or forgotten because it's been a while, this is a game where Kyle and I improv create a video game idea. We take turns in different categories coming up with the themes of the game, the characters, individual mechanics, the structure, and then eventually we come up with a really cool name for a Frankenstein video game idea that we come up with, because that's how game development works.
And they're like, so far the 2 game ideas we've come up with are all-time bangers.
Absolutely, and also they would never get made the way that they are because both of them are like incredibly ambitious for the time period that they're supposed to be set in.
Right.
And then we've got 3 emails.
Heck
that we'll chat through.
Thank you, listeners.
And then we'll talk through the August game releases. There are many of them. And then our reveal of the August Game Club game, which I know I, for one, am super excited to check out.
I'm interested, yeah.
So let's dive in. Let's talk about some first Descendant. It's been a while since I played some of the first Descendant. The way that this went down, and Kyle, correct me if I'm misremembering, is that you started playing some because I couldn't for whatever reason, and you had gone through like the early couple hours of the game.
Yeah, and then I was going to wait for you to do it too, and then we'd link up and play together.
Because we couldn't play together without me first playing that prologue section.
Correct.
So then I played through the prologue solo, and then we were going to play, and then we ended up not whatever day that was supposed to be. So I went ahead and played a little bit more just solo.
Same with me.
And then that's it. We actually never ended up playing this game, and the whole purpose of selecting this game was for us to play it together. And look, the reason is we both played. I mean, I probably put like 4, maybe 5 hours into it.
That's what I did, yeah.
And like that's way more than enough.
Yes.
And so when it came down to it, we were like, I don't know that we need to play it together to like, talk about it.
I feel like we got it.
I would agree. I do think that the reaction to this game has been pretty positive. Like people were down on it at first because it feels like a free to play, game where there's tons of potential monetization and how you unlock characters and a really slow progression, et cetera, et cetera. But I also feel like people have been super warming on it, and like people are having a lot of fun with it now, which is kind of surprising because it felt just so generic to me.
Well, yeah. So I think at like first blush, the unnecessary complexity of like the crafting and all that stuff, those systems, how they like slowly leak that out to you over time, and then also
and like that hub, like, the little hub thing is just so overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. I think that is what led people to like have a bad initial reaction, but then you spend a little more time with it and you start to learn the ins and outs of how those things work. You kind of get a feel for how often you're going to be able to unlock new content without paying for it. And I do think I was beginning to see some of that pacing bear out at about the 5-6 hour mark when I was playing it. And it does seem like doable, like Warframe doable, kind of an equivalent of like earning new Warframes, earning new characters. Seems like it might happen at a similar pace where it is a thing to strive for and earn. And it's just like, it's another objective for you to focus time on, another reason to play the game.
It seemed to me, and because I never got close to unlocking a next character, it seemed like it would require a lot of hours just to unlock one more character. Is that not the vibe that you got from it?
I think it depends on the character, because they're also similar to Warframe. There are like better versions of the characters as well. There's
only
like
for
a special
couple of them.
Yeah, only for a couple.
They're like 3 or 4 like ultra versions.
Yeah, and like those, that seems intense to try and achieve those or whatever. But
I guess
for the normal ones, it seems about like what I remember being on par with Warframe, which is a long time, but it's also part of the game loop. Yeah. Part of like what makes it exciting when you earn it, which also it feels like the kind of thing where if you're going to spend money on the game and unlock these characters for yourself, you're also robbing yourself of some of the enjoyment and some of the gameplay loop.
Well, it's one of those where like pay to not play the game.
Correct. Yes.
Like yeah, you're unlocking new characters, and so that enables you to play with different types of characters. But if the point of the game is to power up and get better and then be unlocking characters, yeah, it definitely feels like you're skirting that if you just drop cash. I feel like maybe, and again, it's been a couple of weeks, but my memory is that there was a currency for unlocking characters that I had not earned any of yet. And so that gave me the idea that like it was going to be a while. Because I think there are a million different currencies. And like you mentioned, the upgrade process is insane.
Right.
Like every gun has a different, like 3 different items that it needs to upgrade stuff.
Yes.
And also they're giving you so much fucking loot, at least
so
in the early game.
Oh my God.
It's like every mission, you get like 30 guns. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
And most of them are trash, and so that makes it not super fun to just scroll through and find the things that are good. What did you feel like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, like the gunplay and stuff, and the movement and everything?
Yeah, I thought it was a little loose.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little... maybe loose isn't right. A little... I don't know whether to call it loose or stiff, because it's kind of both, but in different ways.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It feels a little like, I mean, bland.
Hard to be precise.
Yeah, it didn't have a lot of like the je ne sais quoi of something like a Destiny.
Right.
Just the sense of ease to kick ass.
Yeah, it didn't feel kinetic.
Yeah, and I think honestly a lot of that has to do with the enemy AI, which is like
horrible.
Real dumb.
Yeah, it's
like,
real bad.
Yeah, I just there was nothing in it that compelled me to stick with it, because the story was like super
complete
generic.
Nonsense. Yeah,
the world was so vapid and boring looking.
Yeah,
the only like the positive that I'll throw at it is every character in this game is like the hottest person you've ever seen.
Oh, totally.
And that's both male and female characters. Like I was scrolling through the other character unlocks, and I was like, every one of these characters
is beautiful.
Looks like a K-pop artist. Like they're so unbelievably hot. It's ridiculous, frankly.
Yes.
And their personalities do not measure up to the looks of the characters, though.
No,
because the dialogue and the voice acting is unilaterally pretty poor.
Right, for sure. And like I don't know how it compares in like Korean or whatever. Because I guess that's Korean
true.
Studio. Maybe it's like
that's true.
Their version of it is better than the English stuff. But
Which character did you pick? Because there are 3 characters to start. There's like the sort of straightforward soldier guy who's got some like fire magic.
Right.
There's the big hulking dude who's like the tanky character who I think can do like a shield move. And then there's the like hot blonde American chick with her boobs hanging out who does ice magic.
You better believe I did the thick ass ice witch.
Yeah, me too. I was a little ashamed of it. No, but in truth, I did.
I liked her abilities the most.
Yes, because I liked the soldier character who actually looks like whatever Clive Rothsfield from the new Final Fantasy game. Like
totally.
they could be brothers.
Yeah.
Because he had a lot of different grenades, and I always really like grenade-centric characters. Because I'm super narcissistic, I recently watched a couple of my old Mass Effect 3 videos on my YouTube channel, and watching that gameplay makes me remember how much I loved just the insane grenade characters. So I almost went with him, but I was like, but he feels a little boring. I wanted to do something with more magic, and that's what led me to the ice chick.
Yeah.
Also, she was more attractive.
Also, yes. She's
wearing high heels. It's
and
so
like high heels and leggings and like one of those like skirt sweaters or whatever. Yeah, dude.
I will also say, because they introduced the bunny character, who's like the famous one from all the trailers. She's an NPC to start, and then eventually you can unlock her.
Right.
She was super annoying.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like, the characterization was incredibly annoying in that character.
It's very, very, like, there's an anime character archetype, and she is, like, just fitting it completely.
Well, that makes sense, because anime is not my jam.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'm not totally shocked that it's caught on, because it is a live service game, and it is
high
competent.
production. Yeah.
Yeah. The gunplay is exceedingly competent compared to something like Anthem or Marvel's Avengers, which I thought both of those like played poorly. But I find it's mindless.
Right.
Because you go up against like the first big boss character in one of the missions.
Yeah, that was so
I was just
boring.
playing with randoms. It took forever. It was like 10 minutes
it's
of
funny.
Just shooting him.
Yeah, it's funny. So yeah, the first time it took forever, and then like you can run it multiple times to like get all the drops from him or whatever, which I did just as a thing to do and like to see what that process was like. And one time I got joined with a guy who was super high level, and he popped the boss immediately. the boss just
what a
died
fun gameplay experience.
I was actually like, okay, this is actually really nice. I just pick up all the items.
Pay to not play the game.
Right. Crazy.
We'll see if it actually has staying power. It's only been a month, but I'm not surprised, but I am a little surprised that it seemed to catch on the way that it is.
Yeah, I haven't tried to keep up with like what their concurrent player number is. Let me check on Steam. Where do I see that again? Is that in Community Hub? All right, 82,000 in game right now.
That's a lot
on a Friday night. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
just for the Steam version.
But yeah, I mean, my closing thoughts would be, if you have not checked this out, it is free to play. So if you're looking for a game like this, there's no harm in downloading it and checking it out. I will say it starts extremely slowly. And the enemies are quite dumb in the beginning, but once you get going, it's a little bit easier to like know what the hell you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
but
and I do like the mission structure of you're in this open sandbox area, you go to a place where a mission is, you start it, and if there's anyone in your instance that's already running the mission, you can just like join them mid-mission, or they can do the same for you. Sure. Sort of how like in Destiny you'd be running around the big areas and like and people could just join your events and stuff. The missions
the big
are the same
the
way
world
as well.
events.
Yeah. All of the missions are structured like that.
The open world events were actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
In First Descendant, like there was one where you got like hold a territory and it spawns a bunch of enemies and that kind of stuff. When it creates a little bit more hecticness, that is fun.
Yes.
It's just that like when you're going through more of the linear levels, the enemies are so dumb that there's just no challenge.
Right.
So that part of it is kind of tedious.
And it's so easy, they're dying so fast that like whoever gets into the room first is probably going to be the only person to kill anything.
That definitely happened to me on one of the missions.
Yeah.
Where I was just like I spawned in behind the characters and I don't think I killed a single enemy.
It's just like you, because
I was just running after them the entire time. But yeah, it not a game for us. It did not have the wackiness of a game like Exoprimal that will make us want to play it for shits and giggles.
Right.
So I uninstalled it.
Me too. Also, it was a pretty big install, so I needed to free up that space.
Also true. Speaking of games that were installed and then quickly uninstalled, I played the Concord Beta. This game is the most Dead on Arrival game I maybe have ever seen.
Dude, I feel so bad.
Yeah, I do. Because here's the thing. It is the shooting in the game is pretty good. And like the powers and the movesets and the different characters, all their different kits are pretty interesting and unique. And there are some really cool ones that I've never seen in a game like Overwatch, like other hero shooters of its kind. But there are also a lot of systems in the game that are extremely poorly explained. And granted, this was the beta. It comes out later in August, so maybe they'll have tweaked some of the onboarding experience. But like the whole system around choosing characters, you can select multiple characters that create like synergies in passive buffs.
Okay.
So like if you're playing this character, another character's playing a variant of that same character, which a variant is just a different costume with a different like passive ability.
Okay.
It's very confusing. And when you unlock cosmetics, so like if anyone's seen the trailer, the dude who's very like Star-Lord-esque, who's like green with kind of spiky, scaly stuff on him, he's got 2 pistols. It's kind of his gig. And the passives you can get, there's one that like you reload faster, and there's one that's like you get more ammo. And so the passives are pretty forgettable.
Right.
But you only get one passive per character. And then you can unlock a variant of that character that will have a different passive. But the characters are identical otherwise. And when you unlock cosmetics, when you apply that cosmetic to a variant, you cannot use it on the other variants.
Oh.
So like if I have 2 versions of that dude, and using the example I just gave, one's like reload faster, one is more ammo, and I unlock like a cool purple jacket, I can only use that purple jacket on one of the guys. And then if I end up with a team that has other characters with passives for reload faster, so that we could like stack them together to get an extra boost, now I can't use my cosmetic on that other variant. It's just, that's it.
Huh.
It's just like super poorly thought out in a game that is not full priced and wants you to spend money on cosmetic things.
Right.
That's a really, really shitty system. And also just the whole idea behind the variants and the passives. I played this game for like 2 hours. I had no idea that existed. And then I watched a YouTuber who was like, here's how this thing works, because I know it's super confusing. And I was like, holy shit. Like I literally had zero idea what that was. So that's not ideal. Also, no one played this. And when in fact they were going to have a closed beta that no one was signing up for. And so they opened it up to everybody. It was originally like a PlayStation Plus extra tier exclusive thing that they just said, okay, no, everyone that has PlayStation Plus can play it now. And so I played it for a couple hours and got angry at it because I was just getting my ass kicked because there's no onboarding or training mode for any of the characters. And so like I pick a character, I've never played this game before, and he has a bunch of unique super moves and powers and guns. I have no idea how to play this video game.
Yeah, like,
and I'm just getting railed by dudes that have been playing it for weeks already.
Right. I feel like you need the tutorial. I mean, I get why it's not in the beta, but like also
I don't. They're trying to sell you the video game.
Well,
and
it's
if my
yes
experience
and
is
no.
bad,
they're
why
also
would they
trying
not
to do, like,
include
network
it?
tests and stuff and gain feedback. But like, it should be in there.
I did not have a lick of fun playing it and immediately uninstalled it after playing it. I played like 6 or 7 rounds and didn't have any fun.
Yeah, and I've
also
heard
worth
from other
saying,
people
like,
that have played it, like the characters are very forgettable, like in a way that like
yes.
the Overwatch characters are very memorable. The ones
Yes.
here, it's like I couldn't even think of their name. Like
there is story that happens, and they've actually promised like a weekly story cutscene, which seems insane for them to keep up with. But the story, like, it does not matter. The characters are not interesting.
It doesn't
the
impact
character
the game.
kits are cool. Like there's a character, she's like a teenage sort of Nightcrawler style, where she throws this like glowing ball and then she can teleport to wherever that ball goes.
Okay.
So that's like sets up really cool opportunities to flank people, to escape. There's another character who's like a big mushroom man that can set down like a healing thing that he can teleport to at any time. Like that kind of stuff is very cool, but like there's a high skill ceiling on characters that are like that. And so if you've never played the game before, you're going to get rocked for hours until you figure out how to play a character. Yeah. So that is just, it's just not a good experience. And no one's playing this. It's going to fail extremely hard. And it is sad for the development team. Sony bought them when they saw the pitch for this game.
Well, because I think at the time they were like, oh, we're not going to get Call of Duty, so we need a competitor, a live service shooter competitor. And I mean, this is clearly not going to be it, unfortunately.
But
another swing and a miss.
Saying, like, the gunplay does feel really good, and the powers are cool. So if you're like, for people that loved the Destiny PvP until it got completely abandoned, like you, I think would enjoy this because it's, you know, it's got a lot of Destiny energy to it. A lot of people that worked on this also worked on Destiny. So I think that there is something to this that is of value. It just is super clear it's going to fail because there are so many systems in the game that are poorly explained that are just like frank, they're not just poorly explained, they're poorly made. Like the variant system is a bad idea. And that kind of stuff will kill a game like this, much less no marketing and no one playing the betas even when you make them available to everyone. Crazy. So not good vibes, that's for sure. But I checked it out so that I could talk about it here on the podcast. You're welcome.
I appreciate your sacrifice.
How about we talk about a good video game?
Okay. Like
Fallout 4.
Oh, okay.
More specifically, a mod that just came out for Fallout 4.
Yes.
Fallout London.
So this did finally come out. They were teasing it for like a week or so, but I didn't see any of that stuff since I'm not on social media. So for me, it was basically like a shadow drop, which was exciting. This was postponed. The release was originally going to be on the same day that Bethesda had their huge update that broke Fallout script extender and all this other stuff. Right. So they had to postpone it until they figured out a workaround for that and all that. But it's out now. It's got some problems. Technically, because turns out, hey, that game engine's bad, and it's hard to work with, especially if you're not one of the ones who made the engine.
They're honoring the vanilla game.
Yeah. Oh, it's the vanilla experience. Let me tell you that much. It crashes. So I'll go through like periods where I'll play for a half an hour and it'll crash every like 45 seconds. And then I'll go through like a stretch of 4 hours and it doesn't crash at all. So I think it's some sort of, people are, you know, pontificating that it's like some sort of memory leak somewhere in certain spaces and other things. It could be any number of things, but I've been having a lot of crashes, which has certainly dulled my enjoyment of it. But I've pushed through and I intend to keep playing it because I think what's there is very good. It's a little rough around the edges because of course it is. It's a fan-made overhaul with like a map the size of regular Fallout 4 and like all these new factions, fully voiced NPCs, quest systems, extra mechanics on things. It's really interesting. So the immediate vibe is it's very like original BioShock, the opening thing. You're in this giant test tube dealio. There's some scientists, some shit goes down, you break out, and you're like walking through this like broken down research facility, deteriorating research facility, and there's someone talking to you over the intercom, and there's like no real enemies for a little bit. It's very atmospheric, and very kind of like set piecey for the first little bit of it. I was getting some major original BioShock vibes, and I thought that stuff hit really well and was really good. And I think it also has a really good level of new things. Like it feels like an extremely ambitious Fallout 4 DLC. I feel like it hits that level of quality because like
wow.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive. There's a new Pip-Boy thing, because, and there's some lore around it where there's like, where you find it, there's a terminal you can access and read some notes about it. I'm not going to get super into it, but it's like, oh, those Americans and they're Pip-Boys and it's this new thing. Like, why the hell would you want something that has to stay on your wrist? Like, that's such a pain in the ass. Like, what if we took that tech and made it like something like a clip onto your belt and you could just hold it up like a PDA? And so there's like fun stuff like that. There are so many newly created models for things, like even items that are in Fallout 4, but they've made like a slightly different version because it's set in London. It's like an analog for a lot of these things. The radio stations are all different and play different kinds of music, which is cool. And like, they're also, they're not, like British radio stations, the cadence of the music and the breaks in between and the type of dialogue that happens between the music is very different than American radio was. It's like, that's it just helps kind of cement you in the place, and it feels very authentic in that way. I'll say the environments are way more detailed than base Fallout 4 as well. Like, there's just more clutter and more stuff.
Interesting. I felt like having just replayed Fallout 3, I feel like Fallout 4 was pretty like dense with stuff.
It is, but also like, think you're in London, which is like, a massive, the whole, like the larger part of the map is a giant city. So it's much more dense. Now, a lot of those are buildings you can't go into, like a la like Fallout 3, right? But a lot of them can be gone into, and they do have a lot of detail and foliage and plant matter everywhere. I will say it could use like another pass on that stuff, because while I appreciate all the detail, it's also sometimes difficult to tell like what is supposed to be a path and what is like a mound of shit that is just kind of in the way and you're not really supposed to go over that direction. There's nothing there, kind of a thing. So there's like some instances of that. But I think overall, I really like how they've kind of kitted out the environment. I've been pretty impressed with that. Writing and voice acting has been really good so far. Just kind of like off the jump, you encounter several different factions and like a new race of people, of mutated people that you come across. And all of that stuff is really interesting. And it seems like there's a lot of depth there, which is cool. Like a lot of stuff to dive into. I think the factions in this are more interesting than the factions in Fallout 4. Like the Minutemen and the Institute, like those are, they're very tropey and kind of played out. I feel like
you never get a lot of depth,
right?
Really, any of them.
Yeah, these factions feel like, but like these factions feel like they're actually people, and like like almost everybody has a name. Like with the Minutemen, like they're like 3 people that have a name, and the rest of them are Minutemen. Like in this, like the named NPCs, the number of named NPCs is much greater, and that kind of helps it feel a little more real and a little more deep in that way. It's like all of that stuff's been really, really good. It doesn't it suffers from some like amateurish game design problems in terms of like player onboarding. Like I had to look up some like Reddit posts and stuff on like how to get my first settlement, because I was like running around not able to pick up anything because my inventory was full all the time and I didn't have a place to store stuff. So I had to like look up where was a good spot to get my first settlement, and it turns out that like they're doing more of the Fallout New Vegas stuff where more options are available to you based on stats and perks that you've chosen. In dialogue and in events that happen and stuff. So Fallout New Vegas had a lot of that. Fallout 4 has much less of it, and so they're kind of bringing some of that ethos back in this. So like I was able to get this settlement. I was able to get the quest to get this settlement from a guy because I had spec'd into like the local leader perk. And so the dialogue option was then there for me when talking to this one guy. And then I still had to do the quest, but I guess there's a way in which you don't even have to do that quest if you have another thing unlocked as well. like or a certain level of stat in something. So there's a lot of that, which is like interesting, but also it makes it a little harder to play from the jump because there isn't like all this institutional knowledge about that stuff. It's harder to look up because it's brand new and not as many people are playing it, right? It's just a PC audience playing it. So that stuff is harder to like find out and is difficult to stumble upon because it's like all about your choices that you make. So like there's some early onboarding stuff that I think is a little problematic, but like all the
it does sound like that stuff could be explained better.
Yes,
like
to
make sure you're
tutorialized
not
better,
choosing the wrong perks.
Yeah, like lead me to a small settlement first.
Yeah.
And maybe it does, and I missed something. Yeah, I've been having a really good time. So instead of dog meat, there's an English bulldog that you can get called
Hell yeah.
Is it
Churchill?
Churchill, yes.
Wait, really?
Yes, it is actually Churchill.
I was like, it's got to be, right? Winston
Yeah.
Churchill, English bulldog. It's got to be.
Yes, and he's
That's
adorable.
hilarious.
There's a kid that you can have as a companion that I've met that he can like lockpick stuff for you, which is neat. Yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of there are far more factions in this than there are in the base game. Like there's this a group of cannibals. There are like this group of like shady scientists that you see in the very beginning that are like conducting experiments on you that I haven't encountered yet again. There are like this is like this gang that kind of runs around London that you're a part of that has a rival gang. Separate from the cannibals. There's this like other faction of these they're not ghouls, it's a different type of mutated humanoid species. Yeah, there's a lot of depth there, which is like lore wise, which is really, really cool. And they're also having fun with it. Like some stuff is pretty goofy. So I feel like they're capturing that energy of it too, which is really neat to see. The weapons so far have been really cool. Like getting like police batons and stuff, and like a giant like top of a pylon with a coil around it that's like an electric thing that I just like beat the shit out of people with. A bunch of different guns. I got like early on they give you like a handgun with a silencer for a quest if you do some dialogue stuff. And so I like got to like sneak around and be like fucking James Bond for a little bit on a mission, which was really cool. Yeah, they're just like they're doing a lot. I'm only like 8 hours in played so far.
Okay,
probably
I was gonna ask like
significantly more than that with all the crashes, but
do you know like how long of how I guess if it's a big open world thing it's probably very long, but you know like how long the story is supposed to be?
I don't.
Like is this, are you gonna spend 20 hours in this or 60 or?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's new enough that probably nobody has seen everything in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the pitch is, hey, this is as big as the base game, and it's just as deep and whatever else.
Oh, that sounds amazing!
It's really cool. I hope.
You think I could run it on my MacBook Pro?
No, I don't. I have it set up through the GOG Galaxy launcher. Because
I read that Nexus Mods didn't host it because it's too big.
Yeah. So GOG has it, and they actually made it so that you can launch it straight from there inside their Galaxy launcher. You can install it straight from there, so you don't have to worry about like fucking with files. They have a whole installer thing that's set up through there. There's a patcher in there for when they release updates, so they'll like update it for you. Like, so it just launches like any old regular game, and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, which is really nice. Yeah, I feel like that's a huge step forward in terms of accessibility for something like this. So yeah, I've been really, really impressed with it so far. I wish some of the technical stuff could get ironed out, but I also understand like the scope of the project and the resources behind it.
Well, yeah, it's like, free.
Yes, and also it's free. Yeah, I I have needed something like this for a really long time.
That sounds incredible.
For a really long time.
We're going to talk later on as we talk about like the August releases. So I just like literally today went through Game Pass and just downloaded like a half dozen games because in August, like I just want to play a bunch of stuff, a bunch of smaller things because I don't really have a game. And like I'm very excited to do that, but I would be more excited to have a game like Fallout London to play. Like
Totally.
I want a big thing.
Yeah, and
there
like
ain't none.
My buddy actually just sent me this a couple minutes ago. Avowed has officially been delayed to February 18th of 2025, so that's now next year.
Sweet.
Mid-February.
Hey, don't worry, we still have Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows and maybe Dragon Age, but probably not.
Stalkers in November. They got pushed
that
to
just
November.
got delayed again. That ain't coming out.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're screwed, bro. Call of Duty 6, woohoo.
Yeah, I'll play that campaign.
It's like literally, so I was watching a YouTuber today because he put out a new Helldivers 2 video, and I'm like a sucker for Helldivers 2 videos because I love that game. And in it, he was like, dude, Helldivers 2 is my game of the year. Like, there's been some good stuff, but he's like, he's a big Souls-like person, so he's like, maybe the Wukong game will topple it, maybe Space Marine 2, but probably not. And that's where I am, man. Like, maybe Space Marine 2, if you and I play that together, and it's like, maybe it's
really
insane.
Banging. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I have loved Helldivers 2 this year, and that's like the only game that I've loved this entire year. It's crazy.
Yeah, I need to go back through the list, right, of everything I've played.
But that's also why that's why in August I want to play a bunch of stuff that came out this year that's on Game Pass, just things I haven't checked out, and maybe I'll find some hidden gems. But yeah, I need my point is like I want another big game, and there are none the rest of this year that I'm like hyped about.
Right.
I will play Assassin's Creed Shadows 100%. But I'm not hyped about that game.
Right. We kind of know what it's going to be. So yeah, I played my big game was Fallout London, right? And then you have a couple of big games that you've been playing.
Yeah, all the
Old
recent
games.
bangers. I wrapped up my time with Fallout 3. I talked about this last month, or I guess 2 months ago now when I started it up. But I was getting my ass kicked for the longest time playing on normal difficulty. It was just like I was burning through stim packs. I was constantly having to buy. I was spending all of my money repairing shit and buying stim packs. And
sorry,
I
think you mean you were playing on middle of the difficulty, right? Because isn't it like a bar you increase and decrease in Fallout 3?
I don't think so.
Doesn't it have that?
I think it's just No, I think it's the 4 difficulties, like easy, normal, hard, and stupid hard.
For some reason, I thought there was like a sliding scale or something.
Maybe it's on a slider, but I think it's just 4 difficulty modes. But you might be right. I don't remember. But yeah, I was just playing on normal and just getting fucking wrecked, and just I was exploring, doing every side quest I could, and eventually I was just like, let me just get through the main story. I love that game, but I'm not having that much fun with it right now because the shooting is so bad in that game.
It's too hard to go back to.
I started going through just mainlining the quests, and I got through the first big Enclave thing, and I got some like sick Tesla armor, and then things were much better for me because the Tesla armor is incredible and has great damage resistance and all that stuff. The shooting still sucked ass, and so I basically just devoted all of my perk points and skills into like VATS oriented things for like more critical hits. Like every time you shoot the same body part, it does 10% more damage, like all of those types of things, and it made the experience way better.
Well, and 3 has my favorite VATS because it actually stops the flow of combat.
Yeah, I think it's fine in the 4th one.
Yeah, I just don't like that it's still moving.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I had a great time with it. I finished the main story, and I actually forgot the point of no return that I hit because I never went to the what's the is it the Undercity or Underworld, whatever the what? Oh shit! What are they called? The like zombie guys. Why can't I think of what they're called?
The ghouls.
Ghouls, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, the ghouls. The Ghoul City. It's like Underworld or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And like Tenpenny Tower. I never went to Tenpenny Tower, so
Oh.
I hit the point of no return, and then I beat the game, and I was like, ah, crap. There were like a couple more things I wanted to do, but that's enough. I hit the level cap. I saw what I needed to see. I got, Fox or whatever the fuck his name is, the super mutant who's amazing. Gave him a nice minigun, and he just killed everything for me at the end. I had a great time. I still think the writing in that game is excellent. The main story is certainly not like a world beater like with most Bethesda games, but I think a lot of the quests in the main story are excellent, and a lot of the side quests are great. Like the Fire Ants, those quest is one of my favorites in any Bethesda game. So yeah, I had a really good time with it, and I'm glad I went back to it. It is a little bit of a bummer to go back to because it plays really, really bad. Like it's not fun to shoot stuff at range. As I mentioned, I went through and reorganized my top 100, and Fallout 3 went down several spots. But it's still like in the top 50. It's an incredible game.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah. And then from there, I moved on to Star Wars Knights of the Republic, which a couple months ago I had tried to play, and then I hit a game-breaking bug like 3 hours in, and did not go back to it because that was really frustrating. So after I finished Fallout 3, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to keep saving constantly. And I'm still doing that, but I'm like 15 hours in.
Nice.
I'm having a blast.
Are you on Kashyyyk
that
yet?
Game, I actually just got onto Kashyyyk today.
Okay,
so,
that's where I
through...
stopped when I played.
Okay, yeah. I got through
because
all
it crashed.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I got through all the Dantooine stuff where you finally get trained as a Jedi, and then I did everything on Tatooine. And then, much like any good RPG, as you go to different planets, characters will give you reasons to revisit old planets, so I still will have to do that stuff. But yeah, I think it's Kashyyyk, and then maybe there's one more, and then Yavin are like the other main hub places. The difficulty with this game is it's an early 3D like polygonal model game, and so it's just really ugly.
Oh yeah, it's hideous.
Tons of open spaces with like really muddy polygonal textures. There are like 4 different face models for NPCs. All of the alien characters. I remember playing this as a kid and being like, this is so sick. They like made the language for all of these characters, for all of like the Twi'leks and the Wookiees and the fucking wow, I keep thinking of Mass Effect characters because frankly playing this game makes me want to replay Mass Effect, if I'm being real. But like I'm rereading all these Star Wars books and I can't think of other Star Wars races.
Ugnaughts.
But anyway, yeah, well, and what Greedo? What are those fucking guys?
Oh, I don't remember.
Anyway, I remember playing this and being like, feeling it, like it was so impressive that they got all of this dialogue recorded and made all of these alien languages for the characters. And they super didn't. Because like every Twi'lek you talk to, there are like 4 lines.
Right.
And they just repeat them over and over and over again. Because there's one where he goes, ooh, jibba-da-ba-da-ba-da. And like every Twi'lek character I talk to says that sentence like 9 times. It's gotten to a point where like it makes my skin crawl now when I hear it. There's another one he goes like, ooh, Jabuda, like really slow. And every time I hear it, I'm like, I can't, I don't want to fucking listen to that.
Yeah.
But the writing is so excellent. Better than Fallout 3, in my opinion. The voice acting, there are a lot of really talented voice actors. So like the chick that plays Padme in the Clone Wars animated show, she plays Mission, like Twi'lek companion you've got. The dude that played... Caden in the Mass Effect series. He plays Carth Onassis, the first sidekick character that you find. And they're excellent. However, the dialogue delivery sucks. It's like they're rushing through every line. They're not allowed to take a pause. They're just speaking as fast as they can. I don't know why it's like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't think that people would be patient to sit through a bunch of dialogue. Because this was like one of the early games that was so RPG focused in that way with
Right.
like voiced dialogue. And maybe that was the reasoning, but it really kills a lot of the like character moments. But yeah, this game is what I wanted Baldur's Gate 3 to be from a D&D perspective. Because everything about KOTOR is based in D&D. Everything is a dice roll. All the hits, and you have saving throws that your characters do when they're low on health or when there's a special move happening. But all of it happens in the background. You don't see any of it. You equip things that, increase your will by 3 points or your fortitude by 2 points or gives you an extra bonus on saving throws. But none of that is shown to you. And that's excellent. I'm all about that. And I wish that Baldur's Gate 3 had like an option for that versus it feeling like virtual D&D, because that part of it is what ruined that game.
They're very much playing that up.
But yeah, I'm having a really good time. I forgot the character that I made the first time around, so I just created another new character. His name is Max Sunracer. He's from Tatooine, so I wanted to use like the traditional Tatooine naming structure with the likes of Skywalker and Darklighter and Sand Skimmer. So he's Sun Racer, and also my son's name is Max, so I thought Max Sun Racer was a pretty dope ass name.
It's a pretty cool ass name, man.
I'm specking. I did whatever, like the smuggler or rogue or whatever starting class, and then I'm specking into the Jedi Guardian, which is the more like melee defense focused Jedi, and I'm dual wielding. So right now I've got a yellow lightsaber, and I stole a like Sith Shoto off of one of the Sith that I killed and made that purple. So I'm rocking the purple and gold lightsabers right now.
Marching
the vibes
Eagles,
are very
baby.
good. Yeah, it was not an intentional Bellbrook High School reference, but there we are. Those colors look good together.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, it is funny because I think like the characters and the writing are really good, but every companion, with the exception of like Mission, who's like this young, sort of bright-eyed Twi'lek character, everyone else is a fucking asshole. To bring back the Baldur's Gate 3 comparison.
Right.
Like, what's her name? Bastille, something along those lines. The main Jedi chick, and then Karth is a asshole, and the like Terminator style Mandalorian dude that you recruit is a douchebag. His name's like Canderous or something dumb. But yeah, everybody sucks, and they're really annoying to talk to because they're always just really rude, and it makes me a little sad because I'm like trying to play like a light side nice guy with like some like sarcasm because I got a smuggling background. But everyone's so mean to me.
I wonder if it's because of your smuggling background or if it's just like...
No, that's just the way the characters are written.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not like dialogue choices that are making them rude. They're just always rude. But yeah, it's a fun time. I will absolutely be finishing it. And after I do KOTOR, I'm going to replay Final Fantasy VII, the real one. And then I'm going to go back to New Vegas, and then I'm going to do KOTOR 2. So
nice.
That's the next year and a half of my life.
Yeah, I need
those
to get back to Final Fantasy VII. I was really enjoying that.
Yeah. You're the one that inspired me to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember your buddy talking about that, doing that before playing Rebirth, and him talking about Final Fantasy VII. And I was like, I should play that game again, especially because I didn't enjoy Final Fantasy Rebirth.
Right.
All right, let's move on. An actual new game.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I don't know about this game, Kyle.
It's an anime game.
I want it. I know. I'll hate it, but like I'm really curious.
It's
Zenless Zone Zero.
Yes, this is on PC. I believe it is an Epic exclusive. I don't normally go in for like the JRPGs. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. The hard J.
The hard JRPGs. Oh boy. Whew, we just lost some listeners.
There's an episode title that we can't use.
No, certainly not. This game is hard to talk about because it is a free-to-play game. It looks fantastic. I think like the art, the animation, the presentation is immaculate. Like the style, it is dripping with style in the way that Persona games are dripping in style.
Right.
And all of that kind of feeds back into the game mechanics as well, which is really neat. And the music is fantastic. And so the structure, this game has several vertical slices, I think is the way in which I want to talk about this. So there is a portion of this game in which you are running through randomly, quote unquote, randomly generated environments, third-person action where you are a single character, but it's a party of 3, so one character at a time, character action game fighting, and you can hot swap to different characters like mid-combo. There are mechanics that will like you'll if you build up an enemy stagger enough and you stun them or like add an effect to them, there'll be like a little slowdown moment where you can auto switch to another character. They'll do like a super powerful assist attack. And you can chain those assists between multiple characters, because as you're attacking enemies, you're also building a meter, like your special meter, and so you want to like switch between the characters to get their meters up, and then you can unleash huge combos of multiple characters in sequence and do like a shitload of damage. There's some elemental resistance stuff going on, so there's a little bit of that rock paper scissors happening, and kind of in the background. So that's one vertical slice, right? Kind of running through these randomly generated dungeons, and fighting stuff, and occasionally fighting bosses. And there's also like, there's the main thrust of the game. It is story. Like there is,
okay.
It feels like you're playing through an entire campaign, and it's introducing you to all the mechanics. Like I've probably played this game for like 15 hours, and they're still introducing. Wow. New stuff, and I'm just like in the middle of the campaign story kind of a thing, and like there's a lot to it, and it's actually told in a way that's I think pretty comprehensible, and understandable, and in a way that like a lot of JRPG stuff, like the first Descendant, for example, is pretty incomprehensible and nonsense. This, like, they have a lot of terms and stuff, but they also have a lot of visuals and like I think solid writing and delivery work going on to kind of help sell it, which I was been pretty impressed with. So there's that vertical slice of that type of combat. There's another vertical slice that kind of pairs with that in some ways, where as you're going through dungeons, it's like a tile based. It's a bunch of, all right, it's that scene in The Matrix with the architect where he has a million TV screens. It's that. Okay. Think of it as like those TVs are tiles on a game board, and you are like moving through these screens as tiles, and some of them have different effects. It's like an old school dungeon crawler kind of a thing where like there will be other enemies in this area, and if you like occupy the same tile as them, it kicks you out into one of those arena combats that I described before. So there's that, and like that tile-based dungeon exploring has its own series of not complex but diverse mechanics, and again like just kind of oozing with personality and style and stuff, and like the presentation's great on that stuff. And then there's the other vertical slice of the game where very much I'm going to keep likening it to Persona because it's clearly drawing a lot of inspiration there, but it's the running around town stuff where there are like different shops and different locations you can fast travel to, and like you could go to this ramen place, and if you buy ramen you'll get like a temporary stat boost for a specific thing for X number of combats in the future, if you like, depending on what ramen you get or whatever. It does because it's free to play. It has an energy system, but that's only for your like training missions, which is where you grind out some mats for upgrades, which is like a separate bucket of things that you can do apart from those like dungeon crawls. Like the dungeon crawl stuff doesn't take battery or whatever. It's strictly relegated to like grinding out mats basically, and that's a whole thing. But yeah, so I think it's mainly it's those three vertical slices. There's like the third person combat, the tile based dungeon exploring, and then the running around town where you're getting a lot of like lore information, talking to different characters, finding like hidden stuff around town, engaging with a bunch of different NPCs and upgrading your stuff, and doing a lot of that. I've just been extremely impressed with it. especially for a free-to-play game, it feels like there's a ton of stuff that you can do. It is a gacha game, so like you're like redeeming a currency for getting different pulls at different tiers of the same characters. So like I got an S tier of this one character, but I have an A tier of a different one, so it'd be nice if I got an S tier of that one too. And it's all like they're incremental upgrades to things, is really like incremental stat upgrades. But it seems like at high level play, because it does seem like there is high level play where it's more strategic, because all of the story stuff I've been doing so far has been pretty easy. But I've just unlocked the ability to do this other version of these fights in these dungeons that is really challenging, and like you have to really understand your team comp and what types of damages they do versus the enemies you're fighting, and how to set up and stack those assists and specials together to at the right time and that kind of stuff. So there seems like there's some depth there as well. But yeah, I've just been impressed with the package as a whole because of the sheer number of cutscenes is blowing my mind. And they have a few different styles in which they do it too. Like they have like actual fully animated 3D cutscenes. They have like little bits of animation, and then they'll like freeze frame and do like comic frames. So like kind of an animated comic frame presentation style. Okay. They also do the pretty typical JRPG talking heads where it's like the characters just standing on like a blurred background with the text boxes popping, but it is voiced in most of these situations. Yeah, I've just been pretty damn impressed. It like the game looks great. Every environment looks terrific. All of the characters animate so well. The the sound effects, the music, it all comes together in like a really impressive package. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's cool. I'm hesitant to play more of it because the gacha mechanics, like that's just not something I'm that interested in. Like I would like to play at least through the campaign and see the story through, because it also seems like the kind of thing that they'll probably add more story content to over time to keep people playing. Yeah, it's cool. That's Zenless Zone 0. It's interesting for sure. I started it up on a whim, unsure of how I was going to feel about it. And like after that first session, I was like kind of blown away by it. And like I've gone back and played, like I said, like 15 hours of it so far. And I'll play surprising. I'll play like 2.5 hours at a time. Because there are daily things that you can do as well. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
I was surprised.
The anime stuff just super does not appeal to me
for
personally.
Sure. Yeah,
but I have seen people say like the combat is pretty fun, and
it is.
The gacha stuff sucks, but you get a decent amount of characters as you're playing through the story anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I'll add it to my list to check out this month. Woohoo!
Yeah, I kind of recommend it. I like if you are averse to anime, like you hate it and despise it, don't play it, obviously, because it is still that. But it's like a really good one of those, like shockingly. I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll add it to my list. A game I was able to check off my list was Immortals of Aveum.
Oh yeah, how'd you feel about that one?
Downloaded on a whim. I'm actually annoyed at myself because it got added to Game Pass, and so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play it. And I forgot that I had already had it on PS5 as part of like the PlayStation Plus thing a couple months ago, and so like I played probably 6 hours of it, and I could have gotten a couple of free trophies playing on PlayStation, but I played it on Xbox. That's the most I have to say about Immortals of Aveum. It's I think it's fine. It's got some, I don't know, maybe saying the like we have Doom at home kind of thing that's like overly derivative, because it does have some interesting ideas in like the moves and just how the magic works. I mean, they effectively play like you're using guns. Like there's a really
sure.
high rate of fire machine gun style magic. There's a shotgun blast magic, but you can. I mean, I guess they're organized around the color. So there's blue, green, and red. And each color can also have some super moves that you can use. And at least as far as I got, which, maybe like a third of the way through the game, there were like 2 to 3 completely different styles of weapon for blue, green, and red.
Yep.
So like you can have a shotgun blast style red magic that has like 3 shots before you, quote, reload it. Or you could do like a big, your finger guns. Or you can do like a much bigger, higher damage, just a single blast that then goes on a cooldown. So there's some agency there and like crafting what kind of kit you want.
Yeah.
I had upgraded to like the crazy rapid fire green one, which I also ended up not super liking because the accuracy is really terrible.
Yes.
But I did think that mechanic was kind of interesting.
Like, it's a game that has some ideas.
It totally does. It isn't just a generic like boomer shooter style game.
Right.
It is extremely linear and extremely like story focused. It plays more like a Call of Duty campaign, and in that comparison, I think it fails spectacularly. The characters I find to all be extremely annoying or bland. The world has very little interest to it. The villains, I think, are super uninteresting. Like, the right-hand woman is just called the Hand. And it's just like, come on. Like, where did we go in sci-fi fantasy fiction that we stopped giving characters names? Everyone is just like called a noun now.
Right.
And it's so forgettable.
Yeah.
It just makes me think of Destiny with like the speaker,
the voice,
the traveler. It's like, come on, man. Like, give your character a name that humanizes them.
Right.
That's the point of a name. But anyway, fucking writing 101 aside, I do think that it's a totally competent one of those.
Yeah.
I did stop playing it. I did not have an energy to, see it through. I was like, yeah, I see what this is doing. I kind of enjoy it, but not enough.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about a lot of games these days, to be fair. Like,
yeah.
The days of finishing a game that is mediocre are long past in my life. And so that's where I would put this one.
Right.
It's certainly not a bad game. This is not a game that sucks. It's just a mediocre game.
I'm sorry, did you say a game that sucks?
It is not a game that sucks.
But you said the words, a game that sucks, which reminds me that I played the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 campaign. The new one. Parentheticals new. That first mission that they showed off at that press conference that one time, that's a cool mission. Where you go in,
like the prison
you break
thing?
you break the dudes out of prison, and it's like big set piece moments. That's a cool mission. Unfortunately, most of this 5-hour campaign is what they designate as open combat missions, which are just repurposed sections of the Warzone map. And it's just like, here's an objective all the way over here. Sandbox your way to it. And like the enemies continually respawn. And it's just the least interesting shit.
That sucks.
But they do have like a couple of more linear authored missions within there. Like there's a mission where you're up in a bomber like they always have, and that's fun. Switching between like the Gatling gun and like the 50 millimeter or whatever it is, and the giant cannon, blowing vehicles out from the sky and stuff. That stuff's fun. But yeah, those open combat missions are fucking miserable. And it sucks because there isn't a lot of story that happens, but a dude obviously breaks out of prison. And by the end of the game, a couple of characters from the franchise are dead, but that dude's still broken out of prison, and that's just the new status quo. So it doesn't really progress beyond the first mission, other than the fact that a couple people are now dead.
Great.
So it's like, what was
What's the point?
The point, man.
Yeah.
What was the point?
I saw that they added it to Game Pass, obviously as a marketing push to get people back into COD before Black Ops 6. And I was like, maybe I'll check this out. And then I remembered that I haven't played the second one, like the Modern Warfare 2 remake.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. And I liked the first one,
yeah.
the remake of MW1. So, and I was like, I don't want to play the third one, having not played the second one. And now I know that they're going to drip feed Call of Duty onto Game Pass over the next decade. And so they're certainly not going to add Modern Warfare 1 and 2 anytime soon because they don't want to distract from Black Ops 6. So, like, assuming they keep COD on Game Pass and don't remove them at certain points, I'll probably play Modern Warfare 2 in, like, 2 years. And then I'll play Modern Warfare 3 after that.
Right.
Because I don't care.
Yeah. Like
I'll play Black Ops 6 when it comes out.
Yeah, me too.
I don't care. I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm certainly not going to spend money to play a Call of Duty campaign.
Oh yeah, I'm actually very excited that I don't have to spend money on those anymore because I have been buying them just to play the campaigns because I'm desperate. But yeah, I'm glad I played this so I don't ever have to play it again. Because hardly anything happens. Yeah, hardly anything happens, so I know already. And I don't ever have to revisit it. Like, it's easy to remember what happened in the game because basically nothing happens. Another game. Well, all right, hold on. Let me scroll up to the agenda. Am I step on your toes?
No,
here?
You're right.
Okay,
you're
perfect.
right. No,
perfect.
you're good. You're following the cadence.
I also played Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. This is one I checked out a demo of during the Steam Next Fest. It's not good. The visuals and animations are bad. The writing is maybe fine, but probably less than fine. The setting never really evolves past marginally interesting. Okay. And the combat feels bad. I played for about 2.5.
You kind of liked
I
it.
did kind of like what I played of it in the demo.
Because that encouraged me to check it out because it was more of an approachable Souls-like combat.
Yeah, I once the enemies get to be a little more dangerous, I think it all kind of falls apart because it just doesn't feel good. It's really, really stiff. There's not a lot of great feedback on hits or on getting hit. The environments are just not interestingly laid out. They're not labyrinthine in a fun way like the Dark Souls levels are. It's not like satisfying to find a shortcut or anything like that. Yeah, there isn't a good sense of place. Because you're fast traveling between these kind of more open sandboxy areas. And yeah, they just don't. It's hard to understand what the stakes of each place are. Like there's clearly like there's a weird thing where it was like people are still living in these places, but also there's all these monster guys, but they're also just like normal humans who are bad. It was unclear like what the villains are. It was just weird. And I didn't have a good sense for like some of the mobility mechanics, like the double jumps and stuff that you have. There's like 3 different ways to double jump.
Yeah, I saw in some gameplay that it looked confusing.
Yeah, there's a slide, but the slide is slow and doesn't last very long. Which like that could be like a cool kinetic thing to enter or exit combat with, and they just don't really execute on it well. Yeah, nothing about it I thought was very good. Unfortunately.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I downloaded it today,
like
so
it looks horrendous. It looks so bad. And like so to be fair, I'm playing on the Game Pass version. I played the Next Fest demo on Steam, so I don't know if there are differences in those versions in terms of like graphics and like their presets and stuff. Whatever the preset was.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. Like sometimes. But
you're still like installing it, right? Like you're not going through like xCloud.
Yeah. But like sometimes the executables are different and there's different presets for stuff. Yeah, so sometimes. Because there are different like compatibility layers that they different like quality assurance stuff with some of that the Microsoft storefront has versus Steam storefront. So they can be different sometimes in small ways. And depending on your hardware, it might end up being significant. And I'm wondering if that's maybe the case here, because I was having a hard time getting it to look as good as I remembered the demo looking on the Steam version. It just looked absolutely horrendous. Which maybe the console version
is
doesn't.
A bummer.
But there's something about it running on my machine that was not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really get past 2.5, 3 hours on that.
I do want to check it out though. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos because I can only apply to so many jobs until I want to pull my hair out every day. And I was watching a video just about like, just the concept of a game for everyone is a game for no one, which is a quote that like Arrowhead, the Helldivers folks, have on their website.
Right.
It's like a really famous quote around games. And so it was kind of the concept of that applied to Souls-likes, and just there are always conversations right around like people complaining the new Elden Ring DLC is too hard, and then people saying, oh, we should have an easy mode in Souls games, and then people get mad about that, and just like all that sort of toxic conversation. And it was the approach of like, where's the line in things being too difficult, things being too specific, should the accessibility options, all that stuff. And one of the things that the commenter was saying was that he really didn't enjoy Souls-like games for years, and then he found one, I think it was like Mortal Shell, one that came out several years ago, and he's like, people didn't really like this one, I really liked it, and it just made me appreciate that style of game to the point where now like Elden Ring is one of my favorite games ever made, and I've played all the old Souls-like games and I really like them now. And, you know, a game like Another Crab's Treasure, it just invigorates a lot of fresh personality into the genre. And I liked Another Crab's Treasure, but I would have preferred it if it was more of a mascot platformer and less of a Souls-like.
Right.
Because what I really liked about it was the atmosphere and the personality and the writing and the voice and all that good stuff. Not as much the combat, which I thought was solid, but it's just not what I wanted. And so I am still, like, that video opened my mind to the idea that like,
if you can just find the right
one, it's just finding the right one, but it's also I need to open my mind to just being more patient with games like that.
Yeah.
And I can't force myself to like something that I don't. There's no point in doing that. But what I can do is just have more of an open mind. And the problem is, most of the games that are popular in a specific genre are made for people that like that genre.
Totally.
So me going, like, I own Elden Ring. I got it for Christmas. Me going and booting up Elden Ring is probably not the right way to figure out how to appreciate Souls-like games. It's instead finding things that are more around the fringe that might be more approachable and tip my toes in the water of that style of game. All of that rambling to say, Flintlock seemed like a good one to give a legit shot and be patient and force myself to play for 10 hours to see really if I can find something to like about that style of game. But maybe not if it's bad.
Yeah, I just, there was nothing there that was pulling me in.
Yeah. But anyway, I did. I wish I remembered the name. Oh no, that is the name of the video. It's like a game. A game for everyone is a game for no one. It's on the Second Wind YouTube channel. If folks want to go look it up. It's the former folks that worked at The Escapist who all got laid off and quit and formed their own thing and are way more successful now, which is amazing to hear. But yeah, I thought it was a really interesting video.
Yeah.
Okay, couple more games and then some random stuff that we have to talk about. So I feel like every month I'm going to be bringing a different kid-friendly game because that's kind of what I do with my kids a lot. We play a shit ton of Mario Kart, but we don't need to talk about Mario Kart. We bought all of the DLC. It was like $20 for like, 18 plus new tracks, new characters. It was a really good deal for how much we play it. But anyway, we played through the entirety of Little Kitty Big City. I really like that game.
Yeah.
It is very kid-friendly. It's sort of a collectathon style game, but it's clearly made for my scenario, which is an adult playing with their kids, not a game designed for kids to play.
So this is better than whatever that Crow Things game was?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So it is pretty similar in structure, where it kind of dumps you out into this big city and you're given a bunch of random tasks to do. You meet characters that give you other tasks to do. You're collecting shinies, which is like bottle caps and pins and things like that, which you trade into a crow who gives you different hats. The hats are adorable because you play as this like little black cat with these big green eyes, and you can like wear a hat that straps around his head and it makes you look like a corn cob. And there's one that you get for finishing a quest that's like a duck bill. It's extremely cute. But yeah, I think that the like open worldiness of the game and the sense of discovery and fun is very exciting. My kids loved running around as a cat, pawing at people and knocking them over so they drop their sandwich, hunting birds and like pouncing on them and finding the shinies. Like when we play these games, I always play dumb, right? Where I'm like, do you guys see anything shiny here?
Right.
And my son's like, shiny, like up on this thing. And that part of it is like super wholesome and really fun. I think the part where it falls down is in the writing. And maybe it's because they knew it'd be a lot of adults playing with their kids that they wanted the adults to get something out of. But it's all text-based, so like there's no voice acting in the characters. But the sections where the dialogue happens are so long. It's like page after page after page of text. And I'm putting on voices between the different cats talking, or the duck, or like there's a tanuki who has a time machine, which is like the teleportation fast travel system. And a lot of the writing is cute and fun, but it's so long and it locks you in to just back and forth dialogue. Every single time, my kids got so bored after the first couple of screens because they want to be out there climbing on shit,
right,
finding things. So I feel like that was a big miss. The personality is there, and there's a lot of really fun. There's a side quest with a chameleon who thinks he like talks in this highfalutin style voice, and so I gave him this like pretentious British accent. And his whole thing is like he thinks he's so invisible in his camouflage, but he's actually terrible at it.
Okay.
So in the game, he like hides in different spots, and you have to go and find him. And the kids loved that part of it. Like, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
They don't want to sit and listen to him talk for a really long time after you find him. They're like, skip this. Let's go find him again.
Right.
But yeah, for folks with kids that are looking for a game like this, or like if you have a kid who's like 10 that is into games but can't do stuff that's super complicated, this is a really good one. My daughter was heartbroken when we finished it because she's like, I want to play. She calls it Little Cat Big City. She's like, I want to play Little Cat Big City. I was like, well, sweetheart, we finished that one. We got to move on. So I think next we're going to play A Short Hike, which I've heard really good things about.
Yeah. Came
out a couple years ago. And then I also saw that on Game Pass, there are 3 different Paw Patrol games.
Oh, man.
And they look atrocious. But I'm going to play them because my kids will be hyped. So expect some Paw Patrol video game talk on the next podcast. Last 2 things that I want to mention. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Star Wars books I've been reading. I did fuck up, right? So I've talked about, I have my big spreadsheet with all my Star Wars books. There were a handful that, based on reviews, based on the story, that I wanted to skip. I finished the X-Wing series, and there was a big thing that happened at the end where it was a cliffhanger, and then I went online and Googled it, and in the next book, which was one I was going to skip, was the resolution to that story.
Oh, man.
It pissed me off. It's fucked up to do that. But I read through the thing and I was like, fuck, dude, I need to just read this. I'm going to hate it, but I have to read it. Like, it's been this huge arc and you wrapping it up in a completely different book series, but I have to read it. So I didn't have it, so I had to order it and wait like 2 weeks. So when I didn't have a Star Wars book to read, I did not want to go back to Twitter doom scrolling. So I downloaded some mobile games.
Oh, man.
My wife has been obsessed with a game called Whiteout Survival. It is like one of the biggest city building gacha combat. Like it's one of those like Uber games where it has every system. It's like a clicker. It's got gacha mechanics. It's insane. But I have been playing actually a ton of that because she plays it all the time, and it's fun to just like sit and talk about. It's not like I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
But it does kill 3 minutes at a time when I need to kill 3 minutes at a time. My favorite part of this, which is super wholesome, and I don't want it to sound like I'm making fun of my wife because I love this about her, and it's adorable and very cute. We were playing the game in bed, like before, calling it a night or whatever, and we were talking about the game because she's much farther than me. She's been playing it for months. And so I was like asking her a question about like, I don't know how this thing works. Like, what is this? And she was telling me, she's like, oh, also, in case you didn't know, so you're unlocking characters that you can use in these like arena battles, and that's how you unlock a bunch of random resources, etc. But it's like one of the primary systems in the game. And as you're unlocking characters, they have like different power levels, and some are much better than others, etc., etc. And on the character cards, some will have a blue background, some will have a purple background, some will have an orange background. And I say this on a video game podcast, and you all know what that means. She didn't know that I knew what that meant. And so she was like, oh, and also, if you go and you look at the characters, the ones that have a blue background and they have like an R next to them, those are like the weaker characters. So what you really want to shoot for is the ones with orange when they have like SSR next to them. And those are the ones that are like really good that you want to make sure you're leveling up.
That is like, adorable.
Babe. I was like, Kelly, thank you so much for telling me that. I know.
Yeah.
Because blue and like that's just rarity, because you also have gear, and some of the gear has like a white background or a green background or a blue background. And I was like, that's the rarity. And like the R on that character just means rare, and the SR on purple is super rare, and the SSR on orange is super, super rare. That's just like a thing in video games. And she was like, oh. Like she thought she was like teaching me something and being so helpful. Yeah. It was a very cute moment. And it was like, because she doesn't play a lot of games. We talk about this, but she has played a lot of mobile games, and she gets really hardcore into those types of things. And so it was cool. It is cool because like she'll tell me things about the game that I don't know because I haven't been playing it. Right. And I like that. I like the brief glimpses of us sharing a video game. I think has been really fun.
Yeah.
So that like, I don't like the game. It is serving its need right now. I will eventually reach a wall where like you have to spend money in order to progress, and then I'll just stop playing it. But hey, it's been working for what I needed it to do. A mobile game that does not work at all, no one should play, but is new, and so I wanted to download it to talk about it on this podcast, is Game of Thrones Legends, which is a new mobile game.
Oh, no.
Maybe you have seen, there is a trailer starring Kit Harington, which is actually a really fun, cool trailer, because it's him sort of pontificating about the war against the Nightwalkers, and he's just like in a bar, and he's like looking around, and other people are like staring at him and like giving him like the stank eye, and because they're like other competitors in the game.
Right.
And then a chick makes a joke about like, you know nothing Jon Snow at the end because he loses a match. It's actually a really fun commercial, but when you see the game in the commercial, you go, oh. Because it's the most match 3 gem bullshit game. And so I played it for like an hour in like little couple minute bursts and played through the first couple chapters. It sucks. It's bad. Do not buy it. It is monetized to shit. The bummer is like the characterizations and the writing of the characters is pretty strong. Like you're basically are recruiting heroes that you're unlocking through gacha mechanics. And you use those characters because each character is oriented to a color, and each character has a special move. And so when you're doing the match 3 stuff, if you match 3 blues, you get points towards your blue character's super move. And so there's some of that strategy in there where you're just doing damage to other, the enemy characters. But in between, like there's like the narrative stuff, because you're some like highborn kid of some lord that was killed, and so that you're trying to put the forces together to fight the Nightwalkers. And that part of it I was kind of into. It reminded me of that Lord of the Rings game that we played months ago.
Right.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Where like the writing
it's the
of
same
it was
as
like
the Star Wars one of that kind. It's the same type of game.
totally, yes. But like the writing part of it is pretty decent, but the gameplay is extremely basic and not engaging or fun whatsoever.
No.
I also downloaded another Game of Thrones mobile game because when I was looking for this one, I saw another one called Game of Thrones Conquest. No idea what that is, but I will be checking it out. Because now I feel like I'm going down this rabbit hole of like kids games and mobile games and like just the filth, the hidden embarrassment of the gaming community. So I'm hyped to report back on those things next time.
You disgust me.
So yeah, that's all the video games.
Gamer.
Well, I was. That's all the video games ish. Because some of those I don't know that they qualify as actual video games. We got some movie stuff to talk about. Ironically, I was going to go see the new Deadpool movie this past weekend. After getting laid off, we've been trying to not to spend money. And Kelly and I were like, hey, let's just do one night where we go get dinner. We're going to go see Deadpool. Like, that's our one night where we can spend money. And then we'll do this again once you get a job as like a celebratory thing. So we went out to dinner. We were going to go see the movie, come back, get wasted. We went to dinner. We were running late, and we said, let's cancel the movie and just go get wasted earlier. And so we did that instead. So I did not go see Deadpool, but
I am
maybe
going to
next
see
month.
that tomorrow, actually.
I'm actually okay with it because I've been wanting to rewatch the first two. And so I think we're going to do that over the next couple of weeks and then go see it in like a month. Because I don't care about spoilers. I'm so not invested in the MCU shit.
Right.
There was a new trailer for the Captain America movie. And I was like, this is a cool trailer.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a new Captain America movie.
Yeah, I was like, Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movie. Did you see that?
Nope, that's weird.
Yep. I guess in
there are other actors, right?
In one of the multiversal stories, Tony Stark is Doctor Doom. So there's a bunch of theorizing that he's going to be like a variant Tony Stark who is Doctor Doom. Who knows? I hope that's what they're doing. Because if they're just casting Robert Downey Jr. to play a completely different character, that is the most desperate fan shilling, please pay attention and watch our movies again, that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
But we're getting way off the plot. The reason I mentioned Deadpool is because you also saw an MCU movie.
I did.
In a way.
In a way. I watched Madam Web.
Why did you watch Madam Web?
So I haven't... Alright, full disclosure. I've been very stressed out with work. I've been working a lot of hours lately. And I haven't had the energy to play a lot of games. Like, I'll have the time, but just, like, not the wherewithal to sit down and actually play a video game. So I've been watching a ton of stuff. Mm-hmm. And this was just on the list of things. And I was like, sure. Fuck it. Tonight, like, this is my mobile game version of movies.
There you go.
I'm going to watch Madam Web. The movie fucking blows, bro. And like not even in all the traditional ways in which a movie can be bad, because it is bad in all of those ways as well. The main villain, I don't know if you know this, Shay, or not, but they like I don't know why they did this, but they went back in and ADR'd all of his lines.
I did know this.
Okay.
And I believe I know why, because the actor has sort of like commented on it a little bit without trying to ruin his career. And it sounds like they were rewriting the movie during filming.
Okay.
And then afterwards in editing, they like completely changed what they wanted his character to be like. And so they went in and ADR'd a bunch of stuff because it was like they had completely written his dialogue after they had already filmed the movie.
Insane.
Which is exactly how you want to make a movie.
Yes. Because it does, his voice is like and they didn't even do a good job of mixing in his new audio.
No.
Because his voice just sounds like he's in a different room from everybody else. It never matches the face that he's making. And actually, in a lot of situations, it doesn't match the way his lips are moving either.
Right.
It's fucking crazy. It's fucking insane, bro. And I have some other things to talk about here with the movie. I don't want to, because the movie is terrible and doesn't deserve it.
My only question is, like, is this like Catwoman levels? Like, would this be fun?
No, it's not fun. It is not fun.
Okay.
It's not fun.
Well, that's good to know, because I definitely would have at some point wasted a night watching it.
Don't.
With some tequila, but
watch the YouTube cut of all of that guy's scenes with his bad ADR.
I have seen.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
I've seen.
That's the only thing you need to bother with.
Sydney Sweeney can't save it. Nerdy Sydney Sweeney, fake nerd,
dude. That's
poser,
all right,
bro.
Okay, let me say one more thing about this movie.
Yeah,
I am so sick of the Hollywood. These people are gorgeous, but they're dressed as nerds, so they're actually awkward and nerds. Haha, just like you, like we real people. I'm so sick of that, because there are 3 younger females in the movie, all of whom are gorgeous, and they're all supposed to be like these social outcast weirdos, and like super awkward and like unsure of themselves, and it's like, you can fuck the fuck right off. I'm so over that.
The most famous version of that, at least for me, is She's All That, starring Rachel Lee Cook, which is like an Ugly Duckling style movie.
Right.
Where literally Rachel Lee Cook is just wearing glasses. And then at the end of the movie, the big reveal, because that was Freddie Prinze Jr. was the romantic lead in that. And so he does the whole thing where like, oh, she's so ugly, but I'm going to make her hot as a prank for prom or whatever it was.
Make her
and then
hot
when
as
she
a
walks
prank.
out, like the only thing that's different is she's wearing a dress and not glasses. And then all of a sudden, she's the prettiest girl ever. And it's like, dude, like literally Rachel Lee Cook is stunning. You just took her she's stunning with glasses on, dude. Like, what are we doing?
We're ruining a generation of young women is what we're doing.
But I also think that's why people, like a lot of dudes are into girls with glasses, is because the nerdy girls in movies were always stupid
always
hot.
Actually
they just happened to be wearing glasses.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that movie sounds terrible.
Yeah, don't watch it. I have one other movie.
Yeah, you wrote down surprise movie,
yes.
And I'm terrified.
So I the night I watched this next movie, I texted you to say something along the lines of like, you're never going to believe what movie I watched, and you're going to have to wait to find out until the podcast. Because it's a movie that I want you to try and guess real quick. I know we're like crazy on time right now. I do want to like take a couple seconds for you to guess. What is a movie that I have said I would never watch in a million years? It is a newer movie.
You gotta give me another hint. I have no idea.
It is science fiction.
Never watch. Was it
part of a series?
Rebel Moon, the Zack Snyder one?
I watched the second Rebel Moon movie, bro. This is the depth of my despair over the past month. I watched Madam Web and Rebel Moon Part 2. Dude.
Well, I've been playing Whiteout Survival in a Game of Thrones match 3 game, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, we're both a mess. So, all right, the most interesting thing I can say about this movie is that it's like, okay, how long is it actually? I want to look up the run time on Rebel Moon Part 2. Oh, wow, okay. The first thing when I boot up Netflix, Rebel Moon Part 2 director's cut. That's not unhinged at all.
That's all he does. He makes a bad movie and then says, the director's cut will be good.
Okay, so it is 2 hours.
They didn't let me make a good movie.
The normal movie is 2 hours and 3 minutes. The director's cut is 2 hours and 53 minutes. So he somehow thinks that another 50 minutes will fix it. So
if you can't make a good movie in 2 hours, you're a shitty director.
Yeah.
There are 3 movies that should be longer than 2 hours. In the entire history of cinema, there are 3 movies that should be longer than 2 hours. Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and Return of the King. End of list. Every other movie should be under 2 hours. Period. You don't need 2 hours to tell a story. Let's get out of that.
The most interesting thing I can say about Rebel Moon Part 2 is a 2 hour and 3 minute movie if they only needed to make one change and this movie would have been 60 minutes long. All of the slow-mo just is real time. I don't think there was more than about 30 seconds of movie in between a slow motion shot. So
That's insane.
The idea that somehow he has found another 50 minutes of critical content that just couldn't have possibly made it into the 2 hours is bullshit.
That's great. I love that. But now you have to watch the director's cut.
Now, I gotta watch the first director's cut as well because I never saw that. Maybe I'll feel completely different when I've spent 6 hours in this universe.
It's the weekend, man. A great way to spend your Saturday.
No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to watch the first 2 Deadpool movies
hours.
before I go see the third one tomorrow. That's what I'm going to actually do. But
yeah,
I held that one back because I knew if I talked about it in the moment, I would not be as upset about it as I am now that I've had it fester for a couple of weeks.
However,
fucking the hubris, man.
That's great.
The hubris of that adult baby to think he can even attempt something like that. And then for people to listen to him and give him money.
He is Michael Bay, but people respect him. Like, nobody respects Michael Bay, but people that enjoy his movies like, yeah, he makes good action movies. But there are people that think Zack Snyder is like an auteur. He's a fucking hack, dude.
Except I don't think Zack Snyder's ever made a good movie. Michael Bay used to make good movies. Like, some of his first films are really interesting.
I don't know that interesting is the word I would use.
Oh, okay.
He's made movies that I've enjoyed 100%. But, I mean, I enjoyed 300, but it's not that good of a movie.
Right. I think, some of his, very first... I'm trying to think.
No, I mean Zack Snyder.
Oh, Zack Snyder.
I like 300.
Yeah, I like 300, the memes, more than the movie.
Sure. Probably my favorite Michael Bay movie is Armageddon. And that movie is so dumb.
Yeah, that movie's really dumb. Yeah, I think I like all Michael Bay movies, at least.
Holy shit, dude. Michael Bay has directed 60 movies? That can't be possible.
That's what I'm saying. What are a couple of, his really early ones? I can't...
I mean, he did do, 20 Transformers movies. Oh, okay. He hasn't directed 20 movies. He's done a fuck ton of music videos. Okay, scrolling through... Armageddon is the early one that I remember. But I'm scrolling through IMDb right now. Bad Boys.
Oh,
The Rock.
Fuck yeah. Oh, The Rock. Okay, there we go.
The Rock is fun.
The Rock is great.
But, Pearl Harbor, that movie's terrible. The Island. And then, all the fucking Transformers movies.
Yeah.
6 Underground. No, thank you. His next movie is called Robopocalypse.
Oh, that's God.
Fucking Drew Goddard is writing that movie.
I gotta see Robopocalypse.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Here's your summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Oh, please.
I have been reading a ton of Star Wars books. I will run through the X-Wing series very quickly here. It is a 7-book series. I had never read this one before, and I'm very sad that I had never read this one before because it is excellent. It is super fun. It's kind of broken up into 2 distinct storylines. So the first, the origination of the series, it follows Wedge Antilles, hero of the New Republic, wanting to bring back Rogue Squadron, the heralded squadron from the Galactic War, tons of dudes died on the fight against both Death Stars amongst Rogue Squadron. And the original idea was to make Rogue Squadron a, like, ceremonial squadron just because the name is so popular. And Wedge is like, fuck that shit. I'm going to turn down a promotion to general because I want to actually run Rogue Squadron and make it really good.
Right.
So he recruits, like, the absolute best of the best. This is the introduction point for Corran Horn, who is my absolute favorite old Legends canon character. He becomes a Jedi, and it extra bums me out that I never read the X-Wing series because this is where he was introduced, and I never read that. And I love Short Kings Unite. He's a short dude. He's Corellian. He was part of, like, the Corellian security force. He's just a badass.
He would be played by Tom Cruise in a movie.
Ew, no, that makes me not like him. Like, look, I'll watch Tom Cruise in anything, but I don't like the guy.
Dude, Tom Cruise is a Jedi?
Ew. I mean, he's way too old also.
Imagine that run with a lightsaber in his hand.
Oh.
I guess, well, he wouldn't be able to hold it.
You're selling me on it now.
He wouldn't be able to hold it because it's, like, flat hands. He'd have to hold it with the Force as he runs.
Right, yeah. That's pretty good. But yeah, so that's sort of the origination point of the series. And so the first 4 books follow Rogue Squadron, which is like a brand new squadron. These folks have never flown together before, chasing down the woman who is effectively like the new leader of the remnants of the Empire. So, like, at the Battle of Endor, when the Emperor was killed, Vader was killed, all of those ships and the Death Star were destroyed. That was sort of like the Emperor's premium tier admirals and leaders, with the exception of Admiral Thrawn, who was out in the Outer Rim because he was an alien and the Emperor hated aliens because he was xenophobic.
I think you mean Mithra Noruodo.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So the point is, like, after all of that happened, all of the rest of the Moffs and the, like, captains and the other admirals effectively just all wanted to be the next leader of the Empire. And so things remained super fractured, which was good for the, you know, foundation of the New Republic because they had more legitimacy as a government because there wasn't a united government opposing them. And so this woman, whose name I have forgotten, Admiral Izard, she is the daughter of the dude who ran the Imperial intelligence for Palpatine. And she famously got her dad executed for treason. And the rumor was, like, she faked the evidence because she wanted the promotion. There was also a rumor that she was, like, a lover with Emperor Palpatine, which is super gross to think about. But she's like, they call her Ice Heart. She has a blue eye and a red eye because everyone's got to have a gimmick. And she basically, like, had a super Star Destroyer and was the new face of the Empire and was, like, super ruthless, very much like Emperor Palpatine was without the Force powers, obviously.
What do you think Palpatine's like bedroom talk is like? Unlimited power.
Do it. Do it. Do it. I will have you on your knees before the night is over.
Oh no. Oh
no. Feel my power. We can move on from that part of it.
Yep.
But yeah, so the first 4 books follow Wedge and Rogue Squadron taking down Admiral Izard. The first book is the actual, like, setup, and at the time, the Empire... It's called Rogue Squadron is the name of the first book. The Empire still holds Coruscant, so the New Republic, who is still small in scale compared to the remnants of the Empire, it's sort of them, like, hopping through space, taking out individual Imperial landmarks to, like, stage an actual attack on Coruscant to take over Coruscant. So that part of it was cool because it was, like, lots of individual missions, and it kind of gives you a good insight into all these different Rogue Squadron characters. They all have, like, cool backstories. There's a Twi'lek, Nawara Ven, who, like, used to be a lawyer, and he got really sick of just, like, the galactic, you know, red tape bullshit, and so we wanted to be a fire pilot instead. There's, you know, I mentioned Sand Skimmer, so there's a Tatooine chick named Phelan Sand Skimmer who grew up in the shadows of Luke Skywalker, the hero of the rebellion, so she like fucking hates him, which is a really interesting dynamic. But what I really liked about it was Wedge is there, and he's sort of like the famous, you know, character from the original trilogy, but the other characters, like Leia's not in it at all. Luke's in it just in the beginning, and then Han kind of comes in and out for random storylines, but they're super not the focus, and that I really liked about
that's
these
nice.
books, because it's totally new characters who all have like unique things going on. Corrin kind of becomes the central figure for the first 4 books. And then this is also where Winter was introduced. She's a really big character in the Grand Admiral Thrawn series. Also Talon Card, who is like a smuggler type who plays really heavily in the Thrawn stuff. He's introduced here. Booster Tarek, who comes back in the New Jedi Order a bunch as like one of the generals of the New Republic, is introduced there. So anyway, so that's the first book, is like them trying to take over these installations to then en masse like take over Coruscant. The second book is Wedge's Gamble, and this is like the infiltration into Coruscant. So the folks from Rogue Squadron kind of stop being pilots and become like infiltrator spies. Yeah, exactly. And so that one's a super cool thing. The bummer is I was like reading in Wikipedia some random stuff, because I like to look up all the characters for like fan art, because then it helps me just imagine the characters in my mind. And one of the characters I pulled up, and like the first line was like, oh, she died here after being exposed as a traitor in Rogue Squadron. I was like, wait, no! Because that's in the second book is where that's introduced, that like, oh, there's a spy amongst you. You got to figure out who it is.
Okay.
And Corrin kind of takes that on because he used to be in like a detective basically on Corellia. But that's a really cool one because it's a bunch of spy shit and sort of like undercover things and them like hiding out from the Empire on Coruscant. The third one is the Kryptos Trap, which takes place after Coruscant is taken over, because that's kind of what happens at the end of Wedge's Gamble, is the actual big attack on Coruscant. You find out that Admiral Izard let them take Coruscant because she released this like biochemical agent that is killing off several of the species, and in an effort to like have humans blamed because they're immune and try to like sow division within the New Republic species. And so it's called the Krytos virus. And so the third book is the Krytos Trap, which is all about like them trying to track her down and them trying to manage things on Coruscant. The remnants of the Imperial spies who didn't flee with Izard are now the undercover people. And so they're the ones who are spies doing like terrorist attacks and stuff. Corrin's story there is he gets captured and imprisoned on this like hidden Imperial base called Lusankaya. It's a place, if anyone knows like old Star Wars shit, Tycho Selchu is like a really famous Star Wars character who's an X-Wing pilot in Rogue Squadron. He famously was like not allowed to rejoin Rogue Squadron because he had gone to Lusankaya, and it was a place that they like brainwashed people and turned them into like sleeper agents. So Corrin is there trying to escape. He does a big escape at the end, only to find out that Lusankaya isn't on some planet or this big prison. It's actually a super star destroyer that's buried in the depths of Coruscant. And so as he's escaping, he like realizes that, and then the super star destroyer escapes. He gets off of it, and that was a really cool moment because that's when Izard like flees Coruscant. And then the fourth book is called The Back to War, which is more galactic. After Izard flees Coruscant, she goes to, I don't remember the name of the planet, but it's where all the Bacta, which is basically their like cure-all penicillin-style medicine. You know, Luke is in a Bacta tank in after Empire Strikes Back to heal his hand and all that good stuff. So they basically, the Empire takes over Bacta production, which puts the New Republic in a bunch of straits because they can't heal people that are now suffering from the Krytos virus, which is a really cool storyline. That wraps up with them tracking down Izard, killing her, all that good stuff. And then in the fifth book, called Wraith Squadron, it's like completely new story. So Wedge goes to Admiral Akbar and he's like, yo, Rogue Squadron's awesome, but the stuff on Coruscant really showed me that we need a group that can infiltrate that is like that are spies first and X-Wing pilots second versus Rogue Squadron who are like X-Wing pilots first, spies second. So he creates the Wraith Squadron. And his whole idea is like, I want the cast-offs and like the people that don't fit in their other squadrons. So because I like intentionally want to make a ragtag team of like hyper specialized people. And that is really fun to learn those characters because they're all like super fucked up. There's a dude, Min Donos, who was a lieutenant. He had his own squadron who all got killed from there was like a trap that they flew into and everybody died except him. So he's like, I'm never going to be able to be a leader again because everybody under my management got killed. So I'm going to join Wraith Squadron to like earn a place back in the universe. There's another dude, Kel, who's kind of the main character of the Wraith Squadron book, whose dad got killed by Wes Jansen, who's another famous Rogue Squadron pilot. Folks remember him from the Battle of Hoth. He's the one that's in the snowspeeder with Wedge, who shoots the tow cable onto the AT-AT Walker as they're flying around it, and Wedge goes, "Nice shot, Jansen!" So that's Wes Jansen. Just that one fucking line turned this character into this like huge, he's like an ace shooter, like he's really good with the blaster, and he's Wedge's right-hand man throughout the whole thing. So Wes killed Kel's dad because Kel ran away during a mission, so they had to shoot him down because he was going to get captured and like could leak intel. So there's a lot of tension between Kel and Wes, who's the XO and Wraith Squadron, and a lot of really good character stuff. There is a Gamorrean, who's like the pig-faced guys from Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. He was a science experiment survivor, so he's like really fucking smart and can actually speak basic through. He has a like a little electronic translator thing that he uses. There's a dude who he's basically like a horseman.
Okay.
And he looks insane. But yeah, there's another character called Face, he's his nickname. He used to be a child actor in the Empire, and so I liked that, just my acting background. Because they're spies, they lean into that a lot, where he like wears makeup and pretends to be a different person, and that's a bunch of the storylines. Okay. So that storyline is them taking on a different warlord called Warlord Zinj, who is like more ruthless. He's less sinister and more just like, I'm just gonna murder everybody, and that's my vibe. So it's kind of like taking him on. And that's where Han Solo
good mass murder vibe.
Well, like he's more like literally a mustache twirler, because they describe him as having like a really big bushy mustache. Okay. But he's more just like, I'm just an evil guy. And so that part of it is kind of fun and differentiated from a lot of the other villains in Star Wars. But that's where Han Solo comes in more, because he's the general that's like in charge of the Zinj task force. So he gets to come in a little bit more, which is cool, but it's still very focused on these other characters. So Wraith Squadron book is like more focus on that. It's also a new writer for the last 3 books. And the biggest difference in the first 4 books, because it's more fighter pilot shit, where it's like really like talking about port and yaw and starboard moves and all these like X-foils, like S-foils shit. It's like really jargon of fighter pilots, which is hard to follow at times, but also super immersive, because like that's how the pilots would think and talk. Versus the latter 3 books are focused way less on that and way more on characters and like their thoughts and emotions. So it just felt a little weird that this is all part of the same series, because it's 2 distinctly different stories with 2 distinctly different groups of characters by 2 different authors with different villains, but it's all X-Wing. Huh. And that was just a little odd. But yeah, really quickly, 6th book is called Iron Fist. That is the flagship Super Star Destroyer of Zinj. This is where they're basically trying to hunt it down with Han Solo. They think they destroy it at the end, but it was a trick. That's Solo Command, which is the 7th one, where it's mostly just a big space battle through that whole book. They think they blow it up. They don't, which is when I realized, oh no, what are they going to do next? Right. And then I went and looked it up and saw that The Courtship of Princess Leia, which is a book about a love triangle between Leia, Han, and Prince Isolder, the heir of the Hapes Confederacy or whatever the fuck. Zinj happens to come in at the very end of that book. So I'm currently reading that, and I'm very annoyed.
That's crazy.
It's not good. But that book is also where the Night Sisters are introduced.
Oh,
so that part of it's been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. I spent way more time talking about that than I intended.
You
but
did.
That book series...
I fell asleep in the middle.
Okay, I don't care. If the biggest takeaway is if anyone is interested in Star Wars, but is scared off by the like weight of the canon and all the Jedi shit and just isn't interested in that and doesn't want to be burdened by everything is just about Luke, Han, and Leia, I don't care. I highly, highly recommend the X-Wing series because it's primarily brand new characters. It's way more focused story. It's excellent. So go read it. Go read these books from 1997.
Hey, like, old sci-fi is the best sci-fi, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think, like, new stuff can be good and fun, but, like, the really, really cool kind of esoteric stuff happens kind of early when the medium was really kicking off.
Yes. Let's talk about Star Wars Acolyte really quick.
Okay.
You
I
watched
finished
the entire series,
yeah, I
right?
finished it.
Yeah. I only watched 3 episodes. It's hot garbage. That show was fucking terrible. I did look up because I was curious to see like what happens, so I know the plot points and the big twist at the end. The spoilers for The Acolyte, if anyone hasn't watched it. The thing that sealed it for me was the sneer quotes reveal of who the Sith guy was. And I was like,
dude,
yeah.
so obvious.
Oh, you're telling me that the guy it's the only other character in this show? He's the bad guy?
Oh,
no
man.
way. You mean the guy that doesn't have a name and came out of nowhere and only spouts exposition and serves zero purpose otherwise? He's actually the bad guy? No way. It's so fucking amateurish.
Yeah, it was the most trite bullshit. It was so stupid.
Yes.
I was it can't possibly be this guy because that would be the dumbest thing they could do because it would be so obvious, and then it just was.
It super is.
Great.
Also,
his helmet is so dumb.
Lame.
So edgelord bullshitty.
Yes,
stupid.
straight edge emo kid bullshit. Like he's just not intimidating. Like the fact that he's like wearing a cutoff, like it just makes him so not intimidating.
Right.
He's a fucking dork. Not blaming the actor, but it's a really lame character. I bowed out after that. Does it get better?
No, of course not. What the fuck are you talking about? It like the writing never improves. It's always just it's very MacGuffin-y, like excuses to move on to the next thing. It's all characters making bad choices and the most convenient/inconvenient timing for things. None of the writing is clever or nuanced. It's all like what you see is what you get. I like the fighting choreo I found to be mostly pretty good. But it's not shot very well, but the choreo itself is pretty good. And I would agree. That's kind of all I have to say. I like that the villain has like a little mini Tonto saber that like, so he has like a basically what would be like a hand and a half hilt of a sword as a lightsaber, and he can twist them and pull the bottom out, and it's like a little lightsaber dagger. And so like he then like has like a short hilt on his full length, and then like this short hilt with a little dagger. I think that's pretty cool.
Sure.
That's about it. That's about it.
I think the biggest problem with this show and this time period, frankly, is that Jedi are boring. Like old school Jedi are fucking boring.
Right.
Yeah. That's like by definition, they lack emotion and feeling and personality. Like they're like monks. And so a show where most of the characters are that is so flat. And I know they tried to like change that by having the main May or Osho, whichever one is the good guy at first and then becomes the bad guy. like, I know they tried to make her sort of like have the personality because she was a washout, but it's still like every character she interacts with was so boring.
Yeah.
And I also found it exceedingly hilarious that they had, oh shit, what's the actress's name that played Trinity?
Yes.
Fuck, what's her name? I struggle with names so much.
Yeah, me too.
Whenever we record. Because she's got 3 names. Carrie-Anne Moss.
Carrie-Anne Moss, there it is.
The fact that they had Carrie-Anne Moss like front and center on all the PR and the interviews and all the advertising. And I know she does come back in the flashbacks, but like they kill her in the first scene. Like, she has like 2 lines. I laughed out loud when that happened.
Yeah,
and I knew they would bring her back for whatever reason. But
it's
like,
just like, dude,
the fact that
you really couldn't afford a whole lot, huh?
She is such an unimportant character in the grand scheme. Like, her character does not matter at all. And also, it's ironic that having read what happens, that she's the only one of like the 5 quote unquote bad Jedi that do a bad thing, even though they super didn't do a bad thing, but the show wants you to think they did. The fact that she's the one who is blameless because she just like went along and she didn't know any better, I also found to be extremely trite and lame.
Yep. Poorly conceived, poorly executed. It has all those shots because they do everything on this fucking soundstage now. The shitty digital screen soundstage.
Yes.
Everything feels empty. Like the green screen is obvious. Like you can tell when they're on that soundstage. It just feels so empty and boring and lifeless. And then spoilers for like the final moments of it. If we didn't warn you off and you still want to see it. Spoilers for the final moments of the season. The like after credits bit. You see the back of Yoda's head, like the green Jedi leader. She goes to like get counsel from Yoda on what to do next with all this bullshit going down. And like it sets it up for a second season, kind of a thing.
They're not. There's
it's like
no
you
way
didn't
they make
fucking
a
earn.
second
You like
season.
you didn't earn that. You didn't earn the ability to show that even the back of that character's head.
There is no way they make a second season of
No,
this.
I think everybody hates it.
Everyone hates it. No one watched it, and also like they didn't market this at all.
Right.
They knew no one was gonna watch it, and so they bailed before they even put the fucking thing out.
Yeah.
It's donezo.
Which is wild because like the new status quo at the end is Osha is bad now. And she is with the Sith guy as his apprentice, and they are like out there. They're out there, right? Like that's the new status quo. And so it's like, well, I guess
Osha
maybe
in the
they
new
write it
High
in a
Republic young adult novel.
Yep. I bet.
Yeah. All right. Let's race through the news. Just 3 quick stories. Game Informer is no more.
As of today, actually, the day we're recording this.
Yeah, they were recording. If you go to GameInformer.com, at least at time of recording, it's just like a landing page.
Right.
With nothing is clickable. That just says like, hey, thanks for the memories. And there was no preamble to this. Apparently people that worked there didn't know that this was happening.
Nope. Because they just recently got out under the thumb of GameStop for their subscriptions. Because it used to be that you had to have a GameStop Power Up Rewards membership to have a subscription to the Game Informer magazine. They recently, just a few months ago, got the ability to get independent subscriptions for their magazine, of which I was one. I got an annual subscription. I guess supposedly I'll be getting that 3rd issue of the 12 that I paid for. All right. So if you at home also purchased an annual subscription for a print Game Informer magazine, you can get a prorated return, maybe, if you email returns@gameinformer.com. I emailed them. I have not heard back yet, but obviously, like, is there anybody who works there who can even answer that email? I don't know.
Whatever parent company is going to handle that, so those poor customer success people are going to have to eventually work through all those like tickets.
Right. But yeah, so you can email returns@gameinformer.com to ask for a prorated return on your sub. But So you mentioned the landing page with some language on it. Allegedly, I think I've seen some like discussion on this from some previous employees on Twitter. Nobody on their staff wrote that goodbye message. So it's actually, people are assuming it was probably like a machine learning generated statement, which like,
well, maybe
if that's true.
It could totally be written by PR/legal at whatever parent company. That's more likely.
If they use like ChatGPT to write the message of this like journalism site that no longer exists, that's
extra bad.
That would make me want to cry. Like, you can't log into the website anymore. You cannot log into their app anymore. So you also can't access your digital issue backlog. So you can't access. There is no way, apart from now print original copies of Game of Thrones magazine, there is no way to go back and review that stuff. Now ex-employees cannot log back into their CMS to back up their data and pull their articles that they've written for their portfolios as they go to search for new jobs. Like, they do not have access to that stuff anymore.
That unfortunately is pretty standard practice, having just been through that. The difference is, when I have been laid off, that company still exists, so I can email a coworker that is still there and ask them to send me things. If no one works there, that's not really an option.
Right. This is like, it's 33 years of articles, of exclusive interviews, of gaming history that if we're not able to back that up in some way, it's just all gonna be lost because terrible. It happened with no warning, which is fucking insane.
Unfortunately, the bad news doesn't end there.
No.
Don't worry, the third story is actually, well, it's a bad news, good news situation, but I saved it for last because it's the most hopeful of the three stories.
Right.
More layoffs, and lots of them. So we'll cover these relatively quickly. I've got some stuff I do want to say, because of course I do. Humble Games, which is the publishing label of Humble Bundle, is shutting down.
This is a bummer.
The original pseudo announcement did not imply that it was over and completely gone, just that they were doing like a restructuring. But everyone that worked there is like, yeah, dude, no one works there anymore. It's gone. And everything's been like handed off to some third-party contractors. Like, no one works there anymore. And this is like actually huge, because Humble Games has published a lot of really good indie games over the last couple of years.
Surprising.
Just in the last the 2 or 3 years, Unpacking, Signalis, I think is how you pronounce it, which was like a Metroidvania with like a really hardcore sci-fi kind of horror vibe to it, and Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, which had a ton of really talented, famous voice acting folks in it. I think Ashley Birch is in that. And then also they just put out Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, which the folks that made that game said they were given no notice of this shutdown, and like they no longer have a contact to go to with questions about publishing because all of those people were laid off. So they're like, hey, you guys published our game just like 2 weeks ago, and now we don't have anyone we can go to for help. So like, if something happens on the Steam store, what do?
Oh, man.
No one works at their publisher anymore. What the fuck?
Dude.
So yeah, pretty great.
Humans are bad at things.
Well, executives are bad at things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that certainly sucks. It was 36 people that were there that are gone. And in any statements they've made, they're like, don't worry, Humble Bundle still exists. And we're like, yeah, dude, we don't care. That's not what we're worried about right now.
Right, yeah.
So, also, the studio behind Wizard with a Gun, which is a game, I think it came out late last year, I believe. I know you had played a bit of it, or a demo of it.
Yeah, it was like October.
That studio has shut down.
Yeah, it was published by Devolver, the game was.
Yes. They said they didn't hit the sales benchmarks they needed, and they were in the process of pitching more stuff and just didn't have any money to keep it going, which sucks.
Yeah.
Pieces Interactive, the studio that just put out the Alone in the Dark remake, they're being shut down by Embracer.
Yeah.
Killing more livelihoods. It's the Embracer way. Be embraced. Get a nice big hug of unemployment from Embracer.
Wrap you in the warm arms of poverty.
And Medicaid and Cobra and...
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Filling out weekly employment search results, which is in my near future. So Paradox Tectonic, who is a studio owned by Paradox, they're the folks that were working on Life by You, which was supposed to be a big Sims competitor. That game is being canceled. That studio is being shut down by Paradox Interactive. The game just wasn't coming together, according to them. Apparently, they had sunk $19 million into that game over the last couple of years. And so that's just sunk costs because they're canceling it.
Wow.
And Paradox Interactive then, I think just a couple of days ago, announced a 90% reduction in profit compared to last year. Because they lost $19 million.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
Holy shit.
And then the last one is the biggest one, which is, this again just happened a couple of days ago at time of recording. Bungie is laying off yet more folks, 220 people.
Yeah.
They had I think it was 1,300 employees last year, and now they have 850.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only did they lay off 220 people after laying off 100 last year, 150 of Bungie employees are being migrated into roles at Sony Interactive Entertainment. So they're not being laid off, but they will no longer be Bungie employees. They will be Sony employees. And then also, originally reported as 75, but I think I saw Jason Schreier put an update that it's more like 40 people. 40 people at Bungie that were working on an unannounced third game. So not Destiny 3, not the existing Destiny 2 stuff, not Marathon, but a third unannounced game. Those people are being spun out into a new studio underneath the Sony umbrella. So not part of Bungie any longer. Bungie is not working on this third game. It is now officially a PlayStation Studios game.
Okay.
Reporting up to Herman Holst, the new CEO of PlayStation
Studios. I wonder, I guess this must be different. So there's another article here that was published today. Bungie veterans Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy have reportedly left Bungie because they were working on a game codenamed Payback, which was supposed to be a Destiny spin-off game.
What I saw was that game had already been canceled before this.
Gotcha. So that is not this other thing then.
They weren't. No, it is not that other thing. They weren't laid off, but they left as part of this,
the restructuring,
or around the same time. Yeah, but that's huge. What are the two names that you mentioned? Because one of the guys, he was the creative lead of Destiny 2 for a long time. All the original expansions, he was in charge of. So that's a pretty big deal.
Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy.
Luke Smith. Yeah, Luke Smith is the one. Yeah. So not awesome. Also not awesome is the CEO of Bungie, Pete Parsons, and how he has been acting since all this stuff happened. A bunch of Bungie now ex-employees, both ex-employees as in they had formerly worked there, and also ex-employees as they just got laid off. They're blaming him for this. In a public statement the last time they did a layoff, he took quote-unquote accountability for it and the mismanagement of the studio. That was part of the reason they had Sony buy them, is because they weren't doing a good job managing, but also they wanted to remain independent from Sony, which is clearly not happening because Sony is absorbing a studio from them, is absorbing 150 other people from them. That's not great. So he formally took accountability for it again this time, but it's not actually accountability because nothing's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
So it's empty words. He also, over the last 2 years, and this is public knowledge, he spent $2.6 million buying cars. And that's $2.6 million on one public auction site. So he's like a car collector. That's his thing. So, also not an awesome look.
I saw
to lay off over 300 employees and lose another 200 employees to your parent company. He's doing a great job managing Bungie and is making millions of dollars.
I saw one of the developers who was laid off said it was saying basically fuck you, Pete. He was invited to look at all of Pete's new cars 2 days ago.
Yes.
And then Pete laid him off.
Yes.
And like,
Pete also promised
what a
Bungie
dick.
employees that there would be no layoffs as a result of the Sony acquisition.
Right.
And there have been 2 huge rounds of layoffs in a year and a half.
Yep.
He's a great guy. He's doing a great job running this company. I hope he gets a raise and then gets hit by one of his cars.
Yes.
I kept this in the layoff block because it's not like a full news story on its own, but I wanted to wrap up the layoffs with some good news, which is to say there have been 2 really big unions formed.
Yes.
Amongst game developers.
So
big. 200 plus folks created a union at Bethesda, and then just a couple of days ago, over 500 people at Blizzard that work on WoW created what's called a wall-to-wall, so like it covers the entire teams that they work on of a union there. So positive movement. There are plenty of problems with unions across a bunch of different industries, but hey, we just told a story about an executive that makes millions of dollars laying off hundreds of employees. Individual workers have zero power.
Unions aren't worse than that.
Yeah, at a minimum, at least it gives them some a fighting chance for repercussions against folks like that.
Yep.
So
it's all about de-incentivizing the like vapid nature of CEOs.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing.
Yeah. Last story, I mentioned this sort of like a bad news and good news. SAG voice actors are officially on strike, which is the bad news part. They're seeking protections mostly from AI stuff for things as varied as like stunts and creature performances, things that might be outsourced to AI.
Right.
That's also like not great because obviously we know that's where the industry's headed and it's very scary. The positive news is like strike likes this tend to work, at least in some fashion, because the SAG went on strike. I think it was like last year. Like the film actors were on strike. And they got some protections against AI. They got some protections for streaming and royalties for that stuff. So like they won a lot of the things they were looking for. So hopefully the same happens here because fuck this. You know what I mean?
If something's wrong, you gotta be able to stand up and say something about it. And that's what these folks are doing. And they're doing it together because that's the only way in which they'll have some power, and you have to support that. I think that's an honorable thing to do, and it's super important. And I mean, this is the only, like, if you're gonna have to play within the systems that we have to play within, these are the methods in which to do that. And it's good to see people engaging in those.
Yeah, and I mean, it was like a last resort for them. They had started negotiations last summer.
Yeah.
I guess it was August 25th last year. They had started negotiations around this and weren't making any progress. And so this was the thing they had to do. So the key point is any projects that were started after August 25th of 2023, actors cannot work on them. Anything that was started prior to that date can still continue to go on. So the thing that was called out in the story I was reading was like GTA 6. That won't be impacted by the strike because that game was started before. The little bit of bummer there is like, if there were high profile projects that were now going to be delayed, it would lend more fire to the voice actors and like more power to them. The problem is most of these games that started in September of last year or later haven't been announced yet. So it's just kind of tough. Like Andrew Wilson, the famous horrible fucking asshole CEO of EA who made like $20 million last year. He made a statement to his shareholders, because those are the only people in the world he cares about, and said, oh yeah, none of our short term, there will be zero impact on our projects. Because everything that's going to come out in the next year has already been announced, was started before, so work will continue. It's really, if the strike continues to go on for a while, like the SAG strike did last year, then like games that were supposed to come out in 2026, 2027, that's where we'll start to see some impact.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get what they're looking for quickly. Hopefully they get everything they're looking for, because fuck this shit. I mean, I hate it. I hate it. Capitalism is terrible. My original hate of today was just capitalism, And I decided to change it because that was too existential and big of a topic. And yet here we are. It all comes back to that anyway.
Yeah, I think like it's one of those, you don't even have to say it anymore. We all know. We all agree.
And the bummer is like I hate talking about this stuff because it makes me angry and it's sad, and I like focusing on celebratory things where we can, or like exciting hype stories where we can. But this is real life. Like, these are hundreds of people that are now without a livelihood, and a lot of it comes down to the mismanagement and greed of executives.
Yeah.
Can be like direct line back. Like, if you are a CEO making millions of dollars and your company does so poorly that you have to lay off 20+% of your workforce, you fucked up. It's your entire job to manage the company and make decisions that put the company in a position to succeed over the long term. That's 100% of your job. You have failed at that spectacularly. And yet, you will continue to make millions of dollars, and the people that make a 100th of your salary now don't have health care for their fucking kids. Like, fuck all of you. Eat the rich, bring back the guillotines. Like, we need some French Revolution shit.
And like, you know, the people that are affected by this, like, these are the people who put their heart and souls, show up to work every day, trying to make something that brings you joy, that is a creative outlet for them. They want to be like a part of a team. They want to contribute to something. They want to feel fulfilled and good about their work and provide you with a service and a product and joy. And that's the ethos that we need to protect, because right now those people are being punished for doing that, and they need to be being rewarded for doing that. And so I'm sure from a listener perspective, it can be tiring to listen to this month after month from us and from other media outlets and other sources. But this is so important. Like, we cannot just get tired of hearing about it. We need
That's
to
what they want.
Yeah, we need, like war of attrition. They want to wear us down because they think we're vapid, as vapid and, you know, distractible as they are. But
we are collectively as a society, we are. Yeah, like, it's and part of it is the we need to be resilient in our rage against the machine, as it were. Like, we can't be complacent and just say like, here comes another one. Like, it can't become tiring, because then we've lost.
Right.
They already can do whatever they want with no consequences. And so only by continuing to talk about this and continuing to be angry about it and voting with our wallets, which is all we can do, and actually voting from a bigger picture perspective, that's all we can do, because we're an individual. Like, we're not millionaires. We're not going to be millionaires. Anyone that jumps to the defense of these fuckers, like, it's his money. Oh, so what if he spent that money on cars? It's his money. Like, stop licking boots. They're plenty clean, dude. He gets his boots cleaned already. You don't need to lick them. You're never going to be a millionaire. So stop sucking up to them, man. Like, be on the side of the people who are like you.
Right.
Who care about the fact that groceries are expensive. Do you think fucking Pete Parsons gives a shit that the cookies at Publix are $1 more than they were last year? What could it cost, Michael? It's a banana. What could it cost? $10? Like, those are the people you're defending.
Right.
And I use the royal you. No one that listened to this podcast is who I'm talking about. I know that for sure. Okay, now that we're in this excellent headspace, let's do some We'd Probably Hate That Game. As a reminder, it's dude. It's been 10 months since we did this.
Yes.
Episode 65.
Yes, it has.
So we've played this twice. Episode 62, if you want to go back and listen to the OG version, we came up with the game called Supernova for the Dreamcast, which was like a combat racing game with some like familial story.
Yeah, story about family.
Yeah, you're recruiting characters to drive with you, all different abilities. Sounds like a dope-ass game that I would want to play for sure.
Yep.
And then in episode 65 was Ice Fishing, A Cold End for the N64.
Which is such a good name.
This was a fishing game that also had murder mystery detective elements to it. Yeah, all about it. It had some like crazy creatures too. It wasn't just like you're catching ice fish. It was also like monsters that you were catching as well.
Like you're trying to find your daughter.
Yeah. I think maybe some like Dredge influence was coming into bear on that
for
one,
sure.
maybe. But yeah, so as I mentioned at the top, Kyle and I just take turns going through like, hey, what's the genre? What's the platform it's on? What's the music like? And we just kind of create a game that way. And at the end, we come up with a dope ass name for it. We did not decide ahead of time, and maybe we should have. Who's going to start?
You start.
Okay. So the genre of game. Okay, we've been talking a lot about these types of games. I want this is a. I guess I'll keep it pretty broad. It's a JRPG style.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that it needs to be made in Japan, but it is a JRPG style.
Okay. The genre is JRPG. All right. The platform I have to pick. This is gonna. This is a PSP game. A PSP JRPG.
Okay.
Talk to me about the.
Love it.
Talk to me about the budget.
I mean, there are no AAA games on the PSP, but I'll say that let's call this. I mean, because we're doing the PSP, so I'm just gonna add on to that and say like it's a Sony published game, so it's got a good budget.
Okay.
As much as you would expect on the PSP.
Okay. Some notes about the setting of this good budget PSP JRPG. It's sci-fi. It's a sci-fi setting.
All about it.
And
what kind of sci-fi?
It is soft sci-fi because it's a JRPG and that's all they can really do for the most part. So it's soft sci-fi. Takes place on a space station.
Okay, so just like a single space station. Are you like going to planets and stuff?
I will say the space station on a large, sprawling space station.
Okay.
There we go.
I like it. Graphic style. I mean, we're a little bit limited on the PSP. I'm just gonna. I'll say it's got a relatively high fidelity. They're leaning into a more realistic version of like a sci-fi JRPG. So it's not super stylized. Like it's not like a Persona. Like it's not really artsy in that way. They're going for like more realism, I think.
Sure. Okay. So it's a little more in like the Star Ocean direction.
It's like grounded. It's very grounded in its style.
Got it. Okay. Some themes. Let's say soft sci-fi theme. So far this feels a little by the book, so I want to throw like a bit of a curveball on it. I'm gonna say, oh shit.
It's one of those like what hasn't been done in sci-fi before.
Right. Kindness of strangers as a theme. Right. The kindness of strangers.
Sure. That makes sense. If it's this like huge space station, I mean, we haven't like talked about the characters or anything, but if it's a huge space station, presumably there are a lot of people on there that you don't know.
Yeah. Do you want to throw another theme on there? I'm struggling.
Okay, how about, I mean, I'm using my improv skills. The first thing that comes to my mind, overcoming the sins of your past.
Great.
We can find something in there.
Fantastic, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, I think those two are enough to go on, I feel like.
Okay. Music, I'm also going to do nothing like off theme from a sci-fi game, but a slight curveball and do like very like K-pop style music.
Okay.
So it's very, very upbeat. It's got a little bit of like a electronic influence, but it's just like super catchy style pop music.
Okay. K-pop catchy. All right.
So it's got a little bit of like the electronic flavor to it to lean into like the sci-fi setting, but I'm also thinking of like dating sim style music, where like they'll use a lot of like the K-pop style stuff,
Right.
where it's fun and funny and easy.
Okay. The opening or inciting incident. Now we're getting to part of the plot.
Yeah, I feel like this is where we'll start getting like more specific in our ideas.
Right.
Because right now we've got a sci-fi JRPG on a space station.
Right. With the themes of kindness of strangers and overcoming the sins of your past. All right, so I think the opening inciting incident is it's like everyday life, like slice of life sequence aboard the space station.
Okay. So they're not like on a mission; they just live on this space station.
Right.
Like, this is just like the future
it's
of
like
humanity,
it's like a space station
humans,
city.
Okay.
And it's like a slice of life sequence aboard the space station. Except it just looks like a city. So the fact that it's on a space station is a reveal.
Oh, okay. So there's like grass and outdoors. It's
Right.
very like,
and there's like a fake sky.
Like the end of Interstellar.
Yeah.
Where like they've got the city like on a big space station.
Like
or a town.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's Truman showy. So I'm thinking like the fact that it's on a space station is a reveal that happens late.
Okay.
Yeah, which I'm playing a little fast and loose with our structure here, but again, I want to kind of mix it up a bit. So yeah, it's like slice of life in a city, and then in parentheses, aboard a space station. Except it looks just like a city, so the fact that it's a space station is a late reveal.
So what, like, that, I mean, that's like some status quo, and that's a reveal
Right.
for the audience, but not for like the story. So what's the thrust of the plot?
Right. So the like the inciting incident that propels the plot forward. You get a so main character or protag, let's do protag, gets a phone call from someone disguising their voice, and I'm trying to play into the sins of your past, and they make a veiled threat about revealing some capital C crimes you did in your past. So it starts a slice of life sequence going about your day, whatever, and then you at some point you get a phone call from someone, and it's like, put the motion in the bird. It's like the disguised voice modulator thing, and they're threatening to reveal some crimes from your past.
Okay. I like it.
Okay.
The main character, parentheses S multiples. Yeah, let's make it. So I mean, crimes or sins of your past, etc. Like, my initial mind goes to like, you're a teenager because it's a JRPG, but no, like you're old. You're old as shit. You've lived your entire life on this space station. You've seen it all, done it all, and you're like reaching the end of your life. And I was trying to think of like how does the character come to be? So it's not a customized character. I think it's like a specific character. And I'll also say, just to add some like additional main characters, shoot, maybe that's too much into mechanics. Let me just say, I think that there should be like tons of different races of characters on the ship, and many of them, or some of them, also are main characters. We can talk about how that works into the gameplay if we get to the mechanics, but yeah.
Okay. So you are old, you've lived your life, seen it all, done it all, you're reaching the end of your life, and there are many different races of characters in the city, and some of them are also kind of part of the main thrust of the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That ties into the kindness of strangers.
Yep.
Okay. The villains, right? So, well, obviously, right, the villain is the person threatening to expose your crime.
Mm-hmm.
Your past crime.
But you gotta spoil it. Who is this person?
Right. I think
if you don't want it spoiled, don't listen to this. come back to it in 10 years once this game has been made.
Right, yeah. This is gonna get into like what the crime was. I feel like
I think that's fine
in a bit,
because
in a little
from a story from a story perspective, the only other things we're trying to like actually illustrate would be like the climax of the story and then like the ending denouement of it. So I think we can also talk about what the thing is. I feel like that's kind of part of the inciting incident.
Frankly. Right. Okay. So I think you robbed a bank. And
like recently, or
no,
like...
in the past, in the distant past, and you got away with it. You robbed a space bank.
Jeez.
And you got away with it.
You stole some space dollars.
Yeah. But you you hid the money. You hid the currency.
Mm-hmm.
In a place that you haven't been able to go back to get it. And the person who's threatening you is saying, hey, you have to go get me the money or I'll expose the fact that you're the one who stole it, kind of a deal. So they're trying to blackmail you with the money and threatening to expose your crime. And so, yeah. The person threatening to expose your past crimes. You robbed a bank in the distant past. You got away with it. But you hid the currency in a place that you haven't been able to go back to get it. This person is your neighbor.
Ooh. That's quite the reveal.
Yeah. It turns out to be your neighbor.
You thought you were friends.
Right. Your neighbor who is your close friend. Yes. Okay.
I am... I might be skipping ahead a little bit because we're going to get into the mechanics here, but I have an idea for a mechanic that ties directly into that reveal that I think sets up a good climax, but if you've got other ideas, we can get to that.
Okay.
Although I guess you're going to do the climax, so I've already made the decision. But I think the initial mechanic I wanted to do was I was very inspired when I played Watch Dogs Legion, when you like recruited random NPCs in the game and they all had like unique talents and skills.
Yeah.
And you played as them to accomplish different missions. So like, because a JRPG, you gotta have a party system, right? And so that's what I want the party system to be, where it's not necessarily a group of 10 characters that you find through the story that become your best friends, but it's characters that you, in a way, are creating because they're kind of randomized.
Right.
And those characters are all... They're archetypal, right? But they have personalities and unique voice acting and that type of thing. And you're recruiting those characters who are also, former friends or relatives or other neighbors in your small community within this large spaceship. And those are the people that you're recruiting throughout the period of the game.
Okay, cool.
And like, I guess we didn't determine, we said the inciting incident, but there isn't like what's the goal, right? So to me, it's about you're trying to uncover who this like sinister person is, and to
Right.
find the currency that you hid. Because maybe, you know, as your character, like once you did the job and you got away with it, you're like, ah, shit, I don't need this money. I'm not a bad person. I'm going to like hide it away, and someday I'll have a good use for it.
Okay.
And so maybe
yeah.
I'm like writing the story here, but like maybe that's the thing, is like you're recruiting people to help you find it, because whoever helps you find it, they get to use the money in some charitable way.
Okay.
But the person who calls you, like they're like, I'm gonna turn you in, I'm gonna steal your money, I'm gonna keep it for my nefarious means.
Okay. I'm gonna add onto some of this narrative, because like the money, it needs to be like you can't get it yourself. Like you hid it in a location that has since been like paved over with like a government building.
Okay.
Like it's in the foundations of this government building, and so part of recruiting these random NPCs is about like you're trying to put a crew together to go on this heist.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there are like different stages, right? Like
right.
there's a mission where you need to get a key card, and there's a mission where like you need to try to schmooze somebody.
Right.
Which like maybe that's a different mechanic, which I shouldn't be addressing.
Okay. So I get the next mechanic. So we have recruiting random NPCs with random skills and abilities. That's the party system. They have personalities, unique voices. They're former friends, relatives, neighbors. Mechanic number 2 is the battle system, and this is it's like a variant on chess. So it's tiles on a board, and each character, based on their abilities and stats, can move differently and affect other characters on the board differently.
Can you give me an example? Like, can you like set a trap on one of the spots? Like,
or like
what are
you
the
can,
different...
or like you can like buff adjacent ally characters and stuff like that, or like increase the tiles that they can move, stuff like that.
Right. So it's like there's a little bit of like the tile-based game in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's like a Final Fantasy Tactics Light. Like it always takes place on a board, like a clear board. It's not like terrain or like elevation or anything. It's always on a board. But yeah, it's a little bit like the card game in Rebirth.
Okay. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, that's our battle system.
All right, the climax I had thought of already as I was thinking about that party system, because you set up the reveal that the neighbor is your close friend. Putting those two ideas together, I'm really fucking hyped about this idea, which is, and this is because the NPCs are randomly generated to an extent, right?
Right.
But the way that the story is constructed is that when the reveal happens that it was your neighbor that was the villain the whole time, that neighbor is one of your party members.
Nice.
And it's randomly generated, so it could be any of them. So, like, hey, if you replay it, it's going to be a different character each time. But yeah, you know, I guess not trying to be overly ambitious, they have to fit some sort of framework. But that's the big reveal, is not just that your neighbor did this, but that they are one of your party members.
Nice. That's very good. Very good. Okay. Mechanic number 3 is So I think there also needs to be and this maybe ties into the recruitment mechanic a little bit, but there should be some sort of like a party dialogue system where you can raise and lower affinity with your party members.
Cool.
And that can affect stats and provide other bonuses. Yeah.
So does that exist sort of just through the story as you're interacting with characters and like making choices that like make them like you or not, like a Telltale style?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like, not like in between missions you have a hub where you can just walk, like a Mass Effect on the ship, where like you just walk up to people and talk to them.
Well, remember, it's a PSP game, so it's probably mostly menu based.
Yeah. I don't mean that it needs to all be like voice acted. It's more like structurally, how does it work? Is it you can walk up to characters and initiate conversations, or their opinions of you are changing based upon your actions during the story?
Yeah, I think it's like it takes place at certain story moments. Like they will chime in and have options for dialogue based upon the choices you're making and their like personality parameters that are randomly generated.
That's very KOTOR, actually, since I've been replaying it.
Yeah.
Like you can tell the early stages of their Mass Effect ideas, because like you'll just be walking down a road and all of a sudden it'll be like, hey, Karth wants to talk to you. It looks like he needs to say something. And then you know, it's just a prompt for you to have some like character growth conversations. Right. So yeah, I like that idea. I guess maybe something that can piggyback on that, and again with the effort of not being too ambitious, knowing this is a PSP game, but I think there should be some rudimentary, like, I don't want to oversell, but like a city building thing where like you have your little neighborhood right within the town, and the people in your party live within that neighborhood.
Okay.
And so you can make like small tweaks, some cosmetics, some like that have impact on that character affinity system or powers that characters can have in combat, but there's some like base level town building stuff. You're not like managing a ton of resources and stuff, but like you can buy cosmetics at the store, or you earn a thing during a mission that you can gift to somebody in your town, like a new door, like that kind of stuff.
Nice. Okay. I like that. Cool. All right. The denouement ending. So after the climax, right? It's revealed that it was your neighbor the whole time, and they're in your party. Then I think like you have to like fight them and defeat them. But this like it takes place during the heist, right? So like you're in this facility, this government facility, and after the enemy is defeated, so after you defeat your neighbor, your escape route is like closed off. It's like you can't exit anymore. So the only way out is through. You need to get the money. You've come this far already. So you push forward in the facility. And in the process of searching for the money, you discover... Sorry, I'm talking in a weird cadence because I'm typing at the same time that I'm talking. In the process of searching for the money, you discover in a Truman Show-like way that the entire neighborhood exists on a space station.
Oh, so even the characters don't know that it's on a space station. Crazy.
Yes. So this is the at the ending, the end of the game, right, is that like slow pan out of the neighborhood, and then it just like phases through the dome that is the quote unquote sky, and then it's fucking in space. And then it's like set up for a sequel ?
But like, what happens with the money though? Like, we got to resolve that part of it.
Yeah, like I think like you get the money.
You're able to escape. And get it.
You're able to escape and get it, but now your illusions have been shattered, and now it's like, what do we do from here, right? Like, do we tell people that this is all like a simulated environment? Is there a way for us to escape? Like, can we use this money in some way to affect change?
Yeah. Because, like, maybe, like, the point of the story was, hey, you were going to gift this money to whoever helped you get it.
Right.
But, yeah, like, the conversation there happens of, like, now what do we do? Should we use this to inform others? And I like the idea of maybe breadcrumb trailing that in the story. Like, you get little glimpses that's like, wait, why? That doesn't make sense. But in retrospect, it's like, oh, it's because we're on a spaceship. Because you're in this government building.
Right.
So there would be, like, shit about the space station there, but we can obfuscate it so that it's not obvious. But, like, after the reveal, you're like, oh, that's what that meant.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Okay.
All right.
So now we need a name.
You want to recap it, and then we'll talk about the name?
So what we have is a JRPG for the PlayStation Portable, published by Sony, so it has a decent budget. It is a sci-fi JRPG. It takes place on a large, sprawling space station, but that's a reveal for later. It has high-fidelity, realistic textures, grounded graphic style, nothing too stylized or over the top. Has themes of kindness of strangers and overcoming the sins of your past. It's filled with K-pop, catchy music with some electronic flavor, similar to like dating style sim music. The opening inciting incident is it's like a slice of life sequence in a city, and kind of establishing the status quo. The protagonist gets a phone call from someone who's disguising their voice, and they make a veiled threat about revealing some crimes you've done in your past. And so then your mission becomes, well, now I need to go, you robbed a bank, so you have to go get the money to pay off this person, or they're going to reveal your crimes, and you're going to have to spend the rest of your, few days and years you have left in your life because you are old, to spend those in prison. You don't want to do that. So like I mentioned, you're old, you lived your life, you've seen it all, done it all, reaching the end. And there are a bunch of different races of characters, and some of them are also main characters because, like, people in your neighborhood, they become like your party members. The villain is your neighbor, the person threatening to expose your past crimes. You robbed that bank in the distant past, but you got away with it. You hid the currency in a place that you thought no one would find it, but they built a government building over on top of it. So now you have to go dig into the foundations to get the money. And that's kind of your mission and your quest. And you are going to achieve that goal by recruiting random NPCs, people in your neighborhood, who have randomized skills and abilities as a party system. They also have like some personalities, unique elements about them. The battle system is like a variant on chess, somewhat similar to the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth card game, Queen's Gambit or whatever I think it's called. It's tiles on a board, like a chessboard. Every character, based on their abilities and stats, can move differently and affect other tiles and characters on the board differently. So that gets into your party comp system. The climax is when the reveal happens that the disguised voice person blackmailing you was your neighbor. That neighbor's actually one of your party members. And that's randomly generated, so you never know which party member is going to be the villain. And then you end up having to fight them with, this party that has been affected by the loss of that character, and they have, other things that they're able to throw in there as part of that climactic battle. There's also a party dialogue system where you can raise and lower affinity with your party members. They can affect stats, provide other bonuses. A lot of that stuff is menu based. It takes place at like certain story moments, so choices you're making will affect how they feel about you and will affect sometimes the kinds of dialogue options you'll have in those moments. And the last mechanic is a rudimentary city building for the neighborhood, where you can make like small tweaks like cosmetic. Some of them impact the affinity, stats, and abilities of your party members, because again, they are your neighbors. And all that stuff kind of affects, plays back and folds back into the party system. The denouement and the ending, after you defeat your neighbor, your escape route is closed off as a result of the battle. You're now in the government facility, and the only way out is through. You have to get your money because you've come this far already. So you push forward into the facility. In the process of finding your money, you also discover that this entire city is a Truman Show-like environment on a space station. And so you get out with your money, but also this newfound knowledge of this simulation in which you and all of your neighbors reside in. And so the big question is, like, what do we do next with our money? Do we try and live big in the simulated environment, or, you know, like the conundrum, the quandary, do we try and escape? Do we use these resources to get out of here or affect some kind of change in this environment, or like discover, who's behind, like who really runs it, who's running the space station. And that's like kind of the big climactic, mind-bending ending.
I love it. Now we just need to have a cool name. I have a couple joke names first,
I like
and
some
then
of these.
I've been jotting down some ideas just to get the brain going. So my first joke is, "Won't you be my neighbor?" And then the second one is, it's not outer space, but the game is called Inner Space, because that's like the self-reflective nature of it.
That is very good. Inner Space is
really
good.
The problem is, it needs to be a reveal to the player that it's a space station. And so, like, my mind goes to, what's the name of the town? And the town should be named something that is like, again, after you find out, you're like, oh, right. So like something space themed is the name of the town. Like, ironically, I just watched a Wes Anderson movie called Asteroid City, but like that kind of vibe to it.
Right.
And so, again, another jokey option, but Galax City. I wrote down Constellation. I know that was the thing from Starfield, like the name of their group. And then one that I think might actually be cool is Greenhouse, because it kind of encapsulates the, like, it's a city with, it's like a bubbled city within this bigger space station. So I've just been scrolling through like a glossary of space terms to like find interesting things. I don't think it needs to be like blank city, but something I would love if the name of the game described, or like was the name of the town,
right?
And totally open to other ideas if you've got other. It's like
our main elements.
That's where my mind went.
Our main elements here, right, are this neighborly setting, but also there's like a heist going on and some mystery involved.
Vacuum is another one I think is a cool word that describes a lot of this.
Light speed, orbit,
photosphere,
dwarf, star,
core, something with core.
Core is not bad.
Because again, it like captures the. Ooh, observable universe. That's cool. What about supernova?
That's a good name for a video game. Black hole.
Atmosphere. Names are hard.
Yeah, well, especially when it's like, this one is particularly hard because you don't, like, you want it to have a loose space tie, but
without it being obvious.
Without it being obvious. Launch, rocket, satellite.
Ooh, satellite.
Yeah, that could be something.
But that might be too, like, obviously space oriented. Like, how do you make that the name of a town?
Right.
We unfortunately got to pick something.
I know.
The Big Bang Theory. We got to pick something, and then if other folks have brilliant ideas, feel free to write those in too.
Yeah. Accretion.
The fuck
Accretion
does
is
that
the
mean?
process of growing a massive object by gravitationally attracting less massive objects. That doesn't quite match our themes.
Yeah, I like that because it
Because
like
you're
describes
you're
the story
gathering
also.
Yeah, you're gathering your like your neighbors around you.
Right.
And like it's not orbit, right? And so it's not as obvious. And accretion is also not only a space term. Apogee is too spacey.
Mm-hmm.
Accretion like is almost there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Astronomy terms and names.
Exoplanet. What would be the opposite of exoplanet? What's the opposite of exo? Endo? Endoplanet. Yeah, it's still too space.
Culmination, the moment when a celestial object crosses the meridian and is thus at its highest above the horizon. I would like something with neighbor in it, you know? Like a neighborly related term. But I also I don't want all right, let's first and foremost, let's try and find something that's like neighbors and heist related, and then if we can work in space, that's great. Otherwise, because like first and foremost, you want to tell people what the primary portion of the game is, not just the twist, right? So
I guess, but like, I don't think the name needs.
Well, what about like JRPG? Okay, what JRPG name generator? Because you know how JRPGs have crazy fucking names. JRPG title generator. Generate a title. Dug in the Tainted Sky.
Oh, it's just like totally random.
Yeah. Actually, though, Dug in the Tainted Sky is pretty close as a first generation.
It'd be better if you could like input a couple of like characteristics, and then it would find something.
Village of Quaria.
Because I don't know that the name needs to be descriptive.
Hidden Sky. Hidden Sky is something, right?
It doesn't make any sense.
It does though, because there's a hidden sky beyond the fake sky that is the stars.
But it doesn't make sense for the game as it appears. Like that's leaning really heavily into the twist.
Well, what if Hidden Sky is like the name of the government or something? Or it is like the name of this, like, maybe it's not a government, it's a corporate entity that's built on where the thing is. And they're like, the Hidden Sky Corporation or whatever.
Okay.
I know it's like having the word hidden in the name of a corporation that's behind some shit is a little on the nose, but that's also very JRPG as well.
I agree.
To be super on the nose. Maybe Hidden Skies or Under Hidden Skies, because the money's under the Hidden Skies building. Earthshine. Sunlight reflected by Earth that makes the otherwise dark part of the moon glow faintly. That's interesting. Because it's like shedding light on something hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Earthshine. But again, I feel like these names are too clever for a JRPG. It should be something... Or a tale of hidden skies.
Yeah, but it's not like this game didn't come out in 1994. Like, it's a PSP game. It's not like, I feel like you're leaning into like super retro style naming conventions.
But I hate to break it to you, they are still making Tales games. Tales of, like, whatever.
Well, and like one of our favorite games from last year, Sea of Stars.
Right,
it's kind of like... I just found a word, protoplanet, which is a body formed by the gradual accumulation of planetesimals in a solar system's protoplanetary disk. So like proto something could be cool, because like that's kind of what it is, right? Both it both represents the actual space station as well as the story of this character sort of accumulating these relationships and people to like solve their problem.
Proto heist.
Ocean's 11. Space Ocean's 11.
Let's see, now you're thinking.
Or I guess it'd be like Star Oceans.
Star Ocean's 11. Star Ocean's 11, though. Like, look, this isn't a real video game. We can name it whatever the fuck we want. Star Ocean's 11 is so good, though.
We need to move on. That's the answer.
Yeah, Star Ocean's 11 is really good. Oh, nice job. That's my favorite. That's very good. We were totally approaching that wrong. Like, we're trying to like find something new. Just fucking cool. Yeah, like Star Ocean's 11.
Oh my goodness. Well, as we move on to emails, shoot us an email, info@sheahateseverything.com, if you have like an actual cool name for this video game. But yeah, Star Ocean's 11, I think.
That takes the cake. Yeah.
All right. Emails. Our first email comes in from Mike. Subject line, Shea last episode. And then he just sent a YouTube clip to the scene from Final Fantasy X with Tidus and Yuna doing the laugh. Mike, what does this mean?
I don't know what it means.
Like, Shea last episode. Did I laugh like that last episode? Did I say something that made you laugh like that last episode? Did I reference this last episode and not remember? Like, more context, Mike. Please send us
a little more. Look, I know Mike's a robot, and it like
is
not hooked into ChatGPT. But no, I guess this email's from Mike.
This is a different Mike.
Yeah, this is human Mike.
Yeah, okay. Human Mike. We've not heard from M1K3 since we called him out.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe they're the same. Maybe Mike and M1K3 are both robots.
Or he's learning.
Or a single robot. Yeah, he's learning.
Assimilated
like,
ChatGPT,
they're on to me.
And now he's and now he runs Game Informer.
So Mike, send us an email. Let us know what the hell you mean. I assume it's an insult in some way.
Gotta be, yeah.
All right, and then we get. So this is like a serious email from Jay.
All right, everyone stop laughing.
Subject line, friendship advice. And I'm going to go on a limb. I believe this is Jay's first time writing in.
I think so.
Jay starts off this email saying, PlayStation trophy level is 132. Sandwich is grilled cheese with cheddar and Gouda adding bacon.
Those are deep podcast question cuts.
This is, deep cuts. So either Jay is a new listener who binged a bunch of our old content, or Jay's a long-time listener and is finally like maximizing their time to shine and like reveal these things about themselves.
This is some real Shea Hates Everything podcast email lore.
Yes, we are building the lore.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. I will say trophy level 132. Those are rookie numbers. You got to get those numbers up.
Come on, Jay.
However, grilled cheese, cheddar Gouda with bacon, that sounds
terrific.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like, yes, absolutely. Okay, but the actual email, Jay writes, I have a really good friend of mine from high school that I've managed to keep in touch with. We have different career paths, him being a teacher in our hometown of Southern Kentucky, and me working in finance in Nashville. We've kept in touch every 2 to 3 months with a FaceTime, a regular call since graduation in 2008. Everything has been awesome, and we always have a great time on the phone. Usually rip a shot or drink a couple beers to catch up on what's going on. About a year ago, randomly I kept getting ghosted from him. No matter how many times I call or how many times I text, I'm completely ghosted. I'd like to think I had a really good friendship with him and actually invited him to my wedding, which happened to be during the ghosting period. It was a super disappointment he didn't show up. Wife knew him and everything since before the ghosting period. I made a decision to reach out to someone that he used to live with, and they made me aware that he's going through a fifth of vodka each day and locking himself in his room without talking to anyone. I've reached out to our mutual friends from high school, and they're saying it's not our issue and we shouldn't care. I think they've just grown apart from him as they didn't keep in touch, and I really want to do something to help. What should I do if he isn't answering my calls? I want to do something to help, but I really feel like he won't want any help. I want to know if there's anything I can or should do. Thanks for any input you can share, Jay. Yeah, so this is heavy and real. This is real life. The first thing that I will say is, Jay, we don't know you and we don't know your friend. It's hard to give meaningful advice given that, or like, with that lack of knowledge. So I'll say like all of this comes with heaps of grains of salt. I can tell you like what I would do if it was me in this situation, and that might be helpful. And for me, like if this is a friend that I've had for a long time that I just am not in touch with anymore and is seeming to be like going through a dangerous period, I think you did the right thing in reaching out to friends. I wouldn't give up on contacting those friends and try to give them as much information as possible on what's happening and like all the context that you have. And hey, we used to hang out and talk and he hasn't been replying anymore. I've heard from an old roommate that he's been heavier on the drinking stuff. I don't think that's healthy. I would just continue to try to leverage the people that still know him. If there are other people, family members, etc., of his that you can find and reach out to, I think that's totally appropriate to do. The other thing I'll say, which like, I do not mean to dismiss this at all, is like maybe it isn't as big of a deal as the ex-roommate says it is. If all of your old mutual friends are saying like, oh, don't worry about it, it's not that big of a deal, I'm just saying there's a possibility that it isn't. So I say that as a means of like, I don't think you should panic about the situation. I love and appreciate the concern that you have and that you want to be proactive. I just would shy away from like doing anything drastic, right? Like calling the police to go check out the house, or like trying to find the dude's mom and have like, you know what I'm saying? I think that you're doing the right things. I would just continue to do those things and try to reach those existing friends, and just give more context, and don't give up on trying to get them to see where you're coming from and the fear that you've got. I don't know, Kyle, if you've got other thoughts.
Yeah. So I have some experience in a related realm, and so because every situation is different, I don't want to offer advice, but what I will do is I'll talk about my experience and how I handled it and how I wish I would have handled things differently. And then, Jay, you can decide how applicable any of that information is to your situation. So I had a friend through elementary, middle, high school, kind of on and off friendship. And then we basically like picked it up a lot more directly after high school when we had graduated, to the point where I was over at his house almost every day for like a solid year, basically. And this friend developed some substance use issues, some addictions, and like some of it was, encouraged by family members of his, and I was around a lot of it and super not comfortable with it. And what tends to, like, anecdotally, I've heard what tends to happen in those situations is it can, if it spirals out of control, the people who care about that person tend to get pushed away, and he very much pushed me away, and I let that happen, because I was going through some stuff too, like emotionally, depression and stuff, and just didn't have the faculties to kind of push back when he was pushing me. I just kind of let him push me away. And I regret that a lot. And so if I were to do things differently, I would try and... Because I've had some friends who have also done some ghosting of me with like depression and stuff. And navigating those situations is really difficult. But I think the most important thing is to not give up reaching out. That's the thing that I wish I would have continued to do, was not give up on that. Because I think perseverance matters. And it depends on, like, every day is going to be different.
Right.
For people who are struggling with, whatever it is, every day is going to be different, and you never know when you're going to hit on like a really important day. So continuing to reach out, but also like the way in which you reach out and the way you phrase it is also very important. And what worked for me with my friend who was having issues with depression, was to find the right balance in that relationship of reaching out and giving them space. And also, when I reached out, not being like, hey, I really miss you.
Yeah.
Like,
nothing that's going to like drive guilt,
right,
or like defensiveness.
Yeah, like being very mindful of that, because if someone's in a state in which they're feeling a lot of pain or shame, that's going to be the first direction in which their mind takes them with any interaction. And so anything you can do to establish that kind of communication, that rapport, without the possibility of that read on the situation, I think is going to be helpful as well. And so it's not like, hey, I miss you, I miss talking to you, whatever. It's just like, hey, I'm free, do you want to hang out? Hey, I have something that I'd like to chat with you about. Like, bring, be the author of the situation and bring something to the table. Don't have it just be this, like, because if you're saying, hey, I miss you, it's a little bit like you're unburdening yourself on them, even if you don't intend it in that way. And so just making it about facilitating their participation in the most open way possible.
And you can also do things that are way more frivolous.
Yes.
Of like, send him a meme and be like, oh, this made me think of you, like that, just that kind of stuff.
Right.
Just to, because like we're making a ton of assumptions here, right?
Yeah.
Like we're kind of assuming a worst case scenario where this person's we think this person is dealing with something bad, and just letting them know that they're on your mind in a positive way, I think you just never know.
Yeah.
To Kyle's point, like if you remain persistent and not like overbearing, right, and not accusatory or anything like that, but just stay top of mind with them, you just never know.
Right.
I think that's, I know you said not advice, Kyle, but like I think that's a good option to consider, Jay.
Yeah.
So
that is the thing that I found success with my friend who was struggling with depression. That approach worked for us.
Sure. Sure.
And I wish I had the wherewithal and the experience and the faculties to attempt that with the other situation with my friend who was struggling with substance abuse. Because that relationship has never picked back up. It deteriorated and has not reconnected. Because they've since gone on to make some choices that would make it really difficult for me to feel comfortable reaching out. So, yeah. And unfortunately, like, that happens. People are going to live their own lives, and you can't stop them from doing things. I think, Jay, like, clearly your heart's in the right spot. I think you're doing the right things, and you're being a good friend in spite of not getting anything in return, which I know is tough. But yeah, I think you're taking the right approach. I would just try to stay top of mind with them, and don't give up on the other friends, the other mutual friends, and try to nurture that stuff too. So not fun to deal with. I'm sorry that you're going through that. But yeah, it seems like your head and your heart are in the right place. But yeah, appreciate you emailing in, and also letting us know your favorite grilled cheese, which I'm also super on board with. All right, one more email from stalwart emailer
Connor. Connor writes in subject line, play as Crash in Mario 64.
What?
Which I assume is a reference for our like games that suck and games that don't suck podcast. Connor writes, howdy. What is one of the biggest gaming hoax or fake outs that you guys fell for in your prestigious gaming careers? I've come to terms with the fact that you can't catch Mew behind Bill's house, but I still hold down B every time the Pokeball wiggles in hopes that it helps me even a little bit. I also remember you all hating on the April Fool's Day announcements, but the ultimate troll was Square Enix finally actually doing a Final Fantasy VII remake after IGN did the fake announcement every year.
Right.
Thanks for the pod. Connor from Monster State University. We'll address this first and then talk about the PS after that.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you ask the initial question, the first one that comes to my mind, as I'm sure a lot of people, is the hold B when you use the Pokeball.
Totally. Or some variation there of like A and start, whatever it is.
Right. I am replaying Fire Red right now, and I still just do that subconsciously.
It's a nice thing to do, just to like feel a little better.
It definitely doesn't work. I can tell you that much. The 35 Ultra Balls it takes to catch Zapdos. But yeah, I definitely still do that for sure.
Yeah, same here. I have a list here. So, Bigfoot in Grand Theft Auto. Do you remember that one? Everyone thought that if you went out into the hills and the forest, there's like a cabin out there. There was a rumor that you could find Bigfoot. I remember spending hours and messing with the day-night cycle, like the time of day you would go and all this other stuff, like in between certain missions, and like just always going out to try and find Bigfoot in Grand Theft Auto. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember that. The cow level in Diablo that they actually ended up making in Diablo 4 is like a fun little side thing you can encounter. But like there was this rumor that there was a cow level and it was just like full of cows, like, and you could just slaughter thousands of cows or whatever in this like little Diablo pocket dimension. That never existed, but it became like such a myth of the community that they threw it in as like a fun side thing. And I think Diablo 4. Pokemon catching, Herobrine in Minecraft.
Oh yeah,
the Minecraft Steve with the glowing white eyes filled my heart with terror every time it was nighttime in Minecraft in those early days, like the early alpha versions, thinking he was gonna sneak up on me and kill me. Lara Croft nude. Like there's a rumor that on the mansion level you could get her like fully naked or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like some like input in certain spots or whatever you could.
Pyramid boobies.
Oh yeah, that was a big one. This one's not like. So this one it defines a hoax or a fake out, right? It's Metal Gear Solid 2, of course. Like all the marketing showing you as playing Snake throughout the game, and actually bait and switches you. You play as Raiden for most of it.
Sure,
that was a big one. Cheat codes. This is just a general one I wrote down because I feel like every week at the like lunch table, some friend would have a new cheat code that they swore did a thing in a game, and you go home, try it out, and never work. We're all just like bullshitting each other. Oh wait, hold on. I can't even read my own handwriting. Fallout 4. Oh, the countdown clock. Yes, to Fallout 4. Before Fallout 4 was announced, someone made a website with like a countdown timer in like the Fallout font. And everyone thought it was counting down to the reveal of Fallout 4, and it was actually just someone bullshitting. And then
being a dick.
And then later they of course announced Fallout 4. But that was a big one that was going around the internet a while. And lastly, Alt F4. If you've never been Alt F4'd before,
try it right now.
Try it right now. We'll resume the podcast when you restart your application. That's a classic one, man. That's it. It only ever works once, but it only ever has to work once because it's a good one.
I think the biggest sort of like, it's not a conspiracy theory, but it's more of like a bait and switch troll job that I can think of would be the announcement trailers for Final Fantasy 13 and Killzone 2.
Yes.
Those were the ones that come to mind of just fake ass gameplay stuff that really like those were the games that made me super jaded to trailers afterwards because I was duped by that stuff.
Those games are the reason why they now have to say in-engine footage at the bottom of the screen during trailers.
Yeah. Not as much I guess it is a fake out to your question, but it's more just sinister marketing than anything else. All right, and then Connor writes a PS. I have a fun trivia if you are interested. I'm not sure who checks the emails. It's me, Shea. But whoever checks this first, hide the bottom part of this email from the other person and see how many they can guess. The top 30 food chains that serve mac and cheese. Oh my God. And this would be for sit-down fast food and fast casual. We don't have time to go through all 30. Yeah. But Kyle, like, what are the first ones that jump to your mind as being like the most popular food chains that serve mac and cheese?
Panera Bread. Is that on there?
Oh, geez. I'm realizing after the fact that these are not in alphabetical order. But yes, Panera Bread is on there.
Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't even know that they had mac and cheese, honestly. Why would you order mac and cheese at B-dubs?
It's fine.
Wings and fries. I mean, there's the most classic one for me, but I live in the South.
Oh, is it like not Lee's, but whatever the chicken place is?
Chick-fil-A, baby.
Okay, Chick-fil-A.
Their mac and cheese is
we have Chick-fil-A up here too. I was thinking
it's a southern chain.
What's your Lee's analog? Lee's chicken analog?
Like Church's chicken.
Yeah,
Church's is on here.
Okay.
Bojangles.
Bojangles is the one I was thinking of specifically.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, is there like a Texas Roadhouse or a Longhorn Steakhouse on there?
Both of those are on there, yes.
Okay, cool. I don't think Bob Evans has mac and cheese.
I do not.
I'm guessing Applebee's.
Applebee's is on here.
Okay, that's probably disgusting, but sure.
You're missing another classic chicken place. Really two of them, but one extra famous chicken
Popeyes?
place. Popeyes is on here, yes, but that was not the most famous one that I was referencing.
Oh, KFC.
Yes, KFC. A couple other fun ones that I wouldn't have thought of. IHOP.
Oh.
Cracker Barrel, which I guess does make
sure.
sense. Fridays? I did not know Fridays had.
Okay, yeah, they'd have like a strangely large menu. That makes sense.
Because also Cheesecake Factory is on.
Oh, duh. Yeah.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is weird.
I knew
they had mac and cheese, but like I don't. Oh, you don't know Ruth's Chris?
No.
That's like a legit good steakhouse chain.
Did Ruth's Chris used to be a sports player?
I have no fucking clue. I don't know who Ruth or Chris is. But Ruth owns Chris. It's
Ruth's Chris.
It's her Chris. It's Ruth's Chris. Apostrophe S. But the last one, which I thought was very funny, Dave & Buster's. You know, the fast casual restaurant. Right, yeah, Dave & Buster's.
One of the sit down restaurant, Dave & Buster's. Come on, they have a bar for all the bored parents.
So, yeah. Connor, always good for a random email. Thank you, Connor. And then I mentioned I got 3 emails. I actually got 4 emails.
That's true. This is a big one.
Because I got an email from Focus Entertainment. Mm-hmm. Apparently, when I first incorporated Shea Hates Everything, it's not actually incorporated, but like when I first set up my website back in like 2014, I had signed up for some PR stuff because I'll occasionally get promo things from like Capcom and stuff to my email address. But I got something from Focus Entertainment for free keys for the new update in Atlas Fallen called Atlas Fallen Reign of Sand. They sent an email to me where I can get some free keys. They specifically said like, hey, if you've got a friend, we'll send them a key too. Just let us know who it is.
Please play our game. Please.
They thirsty for players.
Please play our 6 out of 10 game.
I just imagine the poor PR intern putting together the BCC email list and being like, Shea hates everything? What?
Well, he's not going to like anything we send him. He hates everything.
That's true. And unfortunately, I am not going to take advantage of this because I am not playing this game on PC or at all. But I thought it was very funny and I had to mention it. But thank you, Focus Entertainment, for including me. Please obviously send me other promotional things because there might eventually be a game of yours that I do want to play. Maybe.
And hey, thanks to all of our listeners for writing in.
Also true. If you want to send me a PR email for your game that you made up in an improv thing on a podcast, you can send that to info@SheaHatesEverything.com. Let's talk about August game releases and do Game Club game and get out of here. We definitely didn't make our goal of 3 hours.
No.
But we can make 4 hours.
Yeah, well, this is
still
this
shorter.
is going to be like more than an hour shorter than normal. That's really good.
Yes. All right. Already out in August, since y'all are listening to this August like 5th or later, that came out on the 1st. Tomba Special Edition. Kyle, I know you intend to play this because you're a Tomba head.
That's right.
A Tom
I dye my hair pink.
Bed. Star Wars Bounty Hunter HD remake. This is a not awesome game that still has a lot of nostalgia for it because you get to play as Jango Fett, which is super cool. Yeah. But it's being put out by the team that did the recent Battlefront collection. So maybe wait a couple of weeks and see what people say.
It seems like this one's fine. Like they did some lighting engine upgrades and some like control quality of life things that seem like they're pretty good. Seems like reception on this one's fine.
That's good to hear. And then Thank Goodness You're Here, which Kyle played as part of Next Fest.
Yeah.
It is a like British comedy style, I guess like super short, like 2 to 3 hour game.
Little adventure game.
It is very like Adventure Time, regular show style.
Absurd humor.
Animation and characters with a lot of British humor. I fully intend on checking this out once I have an income. On August 6th, One Button Bosses. We both played this as part of Next Fest. It is a very cool game. You hit one button, and that one button makes you go different directions or maybe shoot your weapon, etc. But it's basically a boss rush game. But it's all super just like lines and dots and shapes. Very, very cool. On the 7th, Creatures of Ava is coming to Game Pass on PC. This is like a Pal World Pokemon style game where you're like collecting creatures. I don't know about this one. It seems like it might be a little more kid-friendly. Also kid-friendly on the 8th is Cat Quest 3, which, Kyle, I think you intend to play.
I am going to get this one,
very kid-friendly, sort of like, it's like an action RPG style game, yeah?
Yeah, with like some old school meme humor.
Okay, sure. On the 9th, Crush House, which is a new Devolver Digital joint. This is the like dating sim
reality TV show, like you're filming
Love Island.
Yeah, Love Island.
Yeah, where it seems like there's maybe something sinister going on because it's a Devolver game.
Right. Well, it's also the Stanley Parable folks, I think.
Yeah. And then on the 15th, Dredge is getting DLC, the Iron Rig, which looks really cool. Like lots of new mechanics, it looks like, in that DLC, which is pretty exciting. Also on the 15th is I Am Your Beast, which, Kyle, you played as part of Next Fest. Yep. This is like a first-person speed run, if you want to, stealthy spy thing. Got a little bit of like Metal Gear stuff going on. Seems cool. Bad name. August 20th, a game people are super hyped about, Black Myth Wukong. This is a Souls-like.
Play as the Monkey Man.
Like the Journey to the West, Chinese fable idea thing. Lots of body horror bosses. There's a giant Tony the Tiger style enemy that you fight in a pool of blood.
It's great.
It does actually, like, the fidelity wise.
Yeah, it looks nice.
I love the art direction, and it all looks really cool, but it's a Souls game, so who fucking cares? Yeah. Everybody but me, that's who. Also on the 20th, Tactical Breach Wizards. You added this one.
Yeah,
what is this?
It's sort of like
I like the name.
It's like an XCOM-like, sort of a tactical, turn-based, like movement, and I don't think it's on tiles. I think it's like free movement like XCOM. But it's like a SWAT team, but they're all wizards. It's all the SWAT team archetypes from like classic 90s action movies, but they're all also wizards. And so they're like breaking into places and busting down walls and slinging spells, and it seems kind of rad.
I'm into it. On the 23rd, Concord releases on PlayStation 5 and PC,
and we
at
wish it
$40
luck.
US. And then on August 24th, Concord will be releasing into free to play on PlayStation 5 and PC. No. On the 26th is Gory Cuddly Carnage. This is like an action-y game. It's got a really fun visual style. It's a mashup of like cutesy stuffed animals and super bloody, over-the-top action dismemberment, etc.
What was that?
That looks very fun.
That old like web series, Happy Time Friends, Happy Tree Friends. Yeah.
27th, Core Keeper gets a 1.0 release on PC. Kyle, I know you played a decent amount of this.
Yeah, I've played basically all the early access content up to this point.
Yeah.
So big 1.0 release update.
On the 29th, Squirrel with a Gun, which will be the next big meme game.
Yeah.
It is a third-person shooter where you play as a squirrel with a gun. Also on the 29th, Akimbot, which I also don't know what this is.
So this is, it's like a less creative Ratchet and Clank. Like literally,
Okay.
it's a robot who has like a little robot friend, but the main robot you play as is in the shape of a Lombax. Like actually,
real?
yes. If you look up a trailer of a
Oh,
Kimbot.
he totally does. He has like the little like ear.
Yeah,
things.
it just seems like maybe not a super polished character action platformer that's aping Ratchet and Clank. So we'll see if that's any good or not.
Okay. I could be interested in that if it's
Yeah.
good. Also on the 29th is Visions of Mana. Is this a new
It's
one?
a
This
new
is not
one,
a remake,
correct? Yeah, so it's the third Mana game. There's Trials of Mana, Secrets of Mana, and now Visions of Mana.
Cool. Get your mana here. And then wrapping up this very long month of lots of game releases, the largest one, at least in terms of budget, the next quadruple A game, or I'm sorry, they didn't say that, but yeah. Star Wars Outlaws. I've seen a lot of previews of this game. I saw some previews post Summer Game Fest where people were like, I had a pretty decent time. It seems like it's got some stuff going for it. And then I saw some more recent previews from like last week where people got more hands-on time, where they were like, nah, this game sucks. It's really bad. The combat sucks. There's like the stealth is super fucking boring. The writing isn't good. It's super corny. The graphics are terrible. It runs like shit. This is going to be a bad video game. So we'll see.
I'm going to play it.
I will not be buying Star Wars Outlaws. First, I mean, I probably won't have a job by then for one, but I do not intend to buy this. If it somehow reviews really well, which it will not, I would then pick it up. Otherwise, I will wait for it to go on sale for $30 or play it on Game Pass in 2026. I will someday start Star Wars Outlaws because it is a Star Wars video game and it has some vibes going for it.
It does.
But I, from the jump, did not think this looked good, and the more I hear about it, the worse it sounds. So, best of luck to you, Kyle. I genuinely hope that it is surprisingly good because I would love for it to be good.
Yeah, the bummer is it comes out the day we'll be recording the next podcast, so I won't really get to talk about it until probably the September episode. Or, I mean,
True.
the episode that goes up in October.
October.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you and I can talk about it at
Yeah.
least. And then if it's good, maybe I'll have played it by the October episode. But yeah, so tons of games coming out, and frankly, lots of games that we both would intend to play, or at least like theoretically want to play, but nothing that we like passionately wanted to sign up for. So we're actually going to go back to something that came out in July, which is on Game Pass, and that is Kunitsugami: Path of the Gods.
Yeah.
So this is a Capcom game. It is like a mix of third-person action and some like tower defense style stuff. It has been reviewing exceedingly well.
I'm surprised.
People are in love with the visual style, and just the mechanics of it seem to be pretty strong. It's a much longer game than I think you might expect from it. Like I've seen, it's like a 20-hour game, which is really long for that style of game. But I've been wanting to check it out since I saw it and since I knew it was coming to Game Pass. And I was like, hey, do you want to play this? And you said, yeah, so we're going to play that.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
We don't have to play it together, so we won't fail to play it together.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I downloaded a ton of stuff on Game Pass just today that I intend to play. Flock, I wanted to check out Flintlock. I did download Dungeons of Hinterberg, which I was a little underwhelmed by the Next Fest demo, but there's enough there that I wanted to give it a bigger shake. So I'm hyped about August because I intend to play a lot of like smaller games. I'll be chipping away at KOTOR, but other than that, like there's nothing else big. So lots of indies for me, which I'm excited about.
It's a cool time.
Let's wrap up so we can be under 4 hours. I will say that my name is Shea, and today I don't hate Gruesome Twosome Tuesdays, which is a new thing my wife and I are doing.
Okay.
We stole the idea from an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Where it's a totally passing comment that is never referenced again, that Frank shows up at their apartment with him and Charlie, and he's like, because Charlie's doing something else, and Frank's like, but what about Gruesome Twosome Tuesday? I rented Police Academy 3 or whatever it was and got the Chinese food, where the implication is every Tuesday they rent a movie and hang out together. And so that's a thing that Kelly and I are doing now.
That's nice.
Where we take turns every other week. One of us gets to pick a movie. And that movie can be something we love that the other person's never seen. It can be a newer movie that we both want to watch. It can just be like a classic that it's been a long time since we've seen it. So we started it this month. We watched Anatomy of a Fall, which was my pick. Little Women, the newer one by Greta Gerwig, the director of Barbie, which was Kelly's pick. That movie was great. We watched Asteroid City, which I brought up, Wes Anderson movie, and then we just watched Promising Young Woman, which is a very complicated film that I have a lot of feelings about, and as does my wife. We got in a fight talking about it. We're good now. We both have strong opinions, and I love that movies can make us think and feel and argue about things like that. So that part of it is really cool. It's my pick on Tuesday. I have no fucking clue what to pick. I have a huge list on Letterboxd, but nothing I want to watch is on any of the platforms we pay for, and I refuse to pay $4 to rent a movie when we already pay $100 a month for all these fucking streaming services. So I got to find something.
Might I interest you in the director's cut of Rebel Moon Part 2?
Absolutely not. I thought about just doing Deadpool, but I didn't want to waste a pick on a movie we both said we wanted to watch anyway.
That's true.
So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe like the only one that I can think of is John Wick 2, because we watched the first one. I didn't love it. I feel like it was hyped up too much, but I do want to watch the rest. So,
I love all of them so much.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't hate that. It's been a good time and a good excuse for us to not get drunk in the middle of the week.
Yeah, that's
because we already have a plan.
That's nice. Kara and I recently instituted Wednesdays as our night to do stuff together. So
there you go. That's great.
Yeah, it's nice to have a regular thing. So my name's Kyle, and today I don't hate gigabit internet. Beep, 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 beep. I just switched internet providers, and I got the juice. I'm all juiced up. Get that coax out of here. Give me the hot what's the fuck? Optical fiber?
Ooh.
Give me that hot optical fiber juice.
Yeah.
Well, that took me a while to think of that word. Yeah, it's nice, man. Like if I run an internet speed test on Google,
the best thing
I'm
is
over
it doesn't
Wi-Fi.
matter how fast. It doesn't matter how fast your internet is. PlayStation has a cap on download speeds, so it still takes fucking forever, which I learned a couple of years ago and was really annoyed by.
Yeah. So like we're recording this podcast. I'm also on Wi-Fi connected to like I have a mesh network thing in my house. So over Wi-Fi, I'm getting like 350 down, 280 up right now while we're recording. So that's pretty cool. You don't really need anything faster than that.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that impressed. I regularly am getting like over 300 megs on my download speed. I'm on speed test right now, baby.
Well, are you hardwired like
Let's
into
see
the
what I
wall?
got. No, I'm on Wi-Fi.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit, mine's like really slow right now. I'm gonna close this because now I'm worried. I'm getting like 12.
Oh, okay.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Better shut.
Maybe I just need to reset my router.
Better
or something.
shut your.
Because yeah,
your mouth about your, talking bad about my speeds.
Yeah, 12 is extremely low. I pay for way more than that. But yeah, I'm usually in like the high hundreds.
Maybe Kelly's downloading Rebel Moon Part 2 right now.
Could be. But that is going to do it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Please, send us an email, info@shadeseverything.com. Leave us a review, subscribe, follow, tell your friends. I still am indebted to John M, for recommending us to his friend, also named John.
Yeah.
So John, welcome. Hopefully you're listening today. But yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Kyle, for joining. We will see you mid-month for Games That Suck 1999. And then the first Monday of September for our regularly scheduled programming, which might end up being closer to 3 hours. We're making headway on a more concise, focused podcast.
Yeah.
It only took 5 years.
Next time, we just need to not spend 15 minutes on Star Wars books.
Uh-huh. 20.
Like 20 minutes. Like
I'll have fewer Star Wars books to talk about. Don't you worry. All right. Thank you, everybody. Peace out.